名前？ああ、ここらじゃダビで通してる。そんなことより音の調整だったか。大は小を兼ねると言うしな。まあ俺にとっちゃどうでもいいことだが、小は大にかなわないと思い込んでいるところ、悲しいな。どっちでもいい。さあ決めてくれ。僕のヒーローアカデミア。
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Project Manga podcast, where we cover One Piece, My Hero, Black Clover, Mashle, Chainsaw Man, and Jujutsu Kaisen week to week. Back this week covering Weekly Shonen Jump issue number 49. I'm your host, Eagle.
What up, y'all? It's Kiko.
Noxie.
And Nickums.
And before we get started, we are very excited to say that AniTubeCon is coming back for winter 2020. Last time around, we collaborated with a lot of really great content creators to make a lot of really cool panels, the links for which we'll include in the description below, so you can check those out. Also, you can stay tuned to the description and to the Project Manga Discord and the AniTubeCon Discord for updates on what will be going down with the next joint. Also, while you're down there, you can also visit the link tree in the description box down below, where you can find links to any and all of our online communities, audio listening platforms to consume the podcast on, as well as links to support the podcast if you would be so inclined, such as the link to our Patreon, where we release extra content ranging from early access all the way up to additional manga reviews. So, with that being said, how are you guys feeling about this week in Jump?
Solid week.
Man, it's a banger, even without One Piece, man. Yeah.
Oh my God, there's no One Piece. I didn't even realize there's no one. I guess not. But yeah, man, I don't know. Fucking super solid
One
week.
Piece who?
We're almost at 52, so we have 3 weeks left. And I feel like I could just see this culminating into a giant final chapter of the year for everything on the roster. And I just can't wait to see that. So
For sure.
Man, well, so I guess, with that, fuck it. Let's just jump right into the meat and potatoes.
do it, man.
Hell yeah, let's do
Let's
it.
go.
Chapter 129 of Jujutsu Kaisen, the Shibuya Incident, part 46.
Okay, so we're starting to see why Mahito brought them out into this open space inside of the city, which
He wanted to get Toto the fuck out of there.
Right, we wanted to. We were talking about how like weird that was strategically for Mahito, considering his opponents. But obviously, he had a plan on how to separate Toto from the fight so that he could isolate Yuji Itadori, which is a much better match for him. He splits himself into two again and does an 80-20 split on power, which Toto gives us an amazing. See, like this page on page 6 is like. Very reminiscent to the page of him when they're fighting Hanami in the Exchange Festival, and Toto is like deducing all of Hanami's like cursed energy attacks, and it's a very Knuckle from Hunter x Hunter-esque panel, or page, you know what I mean? And we're getting that again inside of this fight, which is something that I personally really wanted, was just Toto getting in his strategy bag, which I'm very happy to see here.
Yeah.
And Toto really is the GOAT, and his ability, like, man,
so broken.
It's just it's crazy how really fearsome it is in battle, because the fact that you can just switch. He beat 3 attack specialists. What the fuck are they called?
Polymorphic soul isomer.
Exactly. 3 attack specialists. Like, just the fact that he can avoid your fucking attacks so easily. That's crazy.
It's drastic.
Right.
I was just saying, I was a little, just that they were kind of off screen, the other two. Like, I was just a little disappointed. I'm like, man, I wanted to see them more throwing the rock. Yeah, I know he one-shot the first one, but how he put cursed energy into the rock to throw it and then use Boogie Woogie, I wanted to see a little bit more of that happen.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about this, like, polymorphic soul isomer, right? So, like, I was, like, reminding myself, isomer, like, what is that or whatever, right? And there's, like, the chemistry term, like, it's the same, imagine a molecule, it's, like, the same 2 molecules, same atom, same exact atomic, configuration, but a different shape, right? But I don't think that this one, that's what this ability is referring to. It's actually referring to the physics term, not the chemistry term, which is like the same atomic number, the same mass as the substance or whatever, but a higher like energy state, a different energy state. So basically, what like in physics, what you can do is you can take an element, say like cobalt, right, and you can like put energy into it, right, and it gets kind of supercharged. So it's like it's more radioactive. It's more radioactive, but it's more unstable, right? So like what he's doing here basically is like shoving souls in here. It's the exact same number of souls, right? It's still 10 souls or 100 souls or whatever. But because of how he's putting them in there, it's like more unstable, but therefore more powerful, way more powerful. And then of course Toto one-shots them because they're also like more unstable and more weak.
They're all glass cannons. I mean?
Yeah, glass cannons. Exactly.
Yeah, that's so cool how like the name, because we get that exposition from Toto as he fights them, basically. And that's so cool that you're going to name and attack something and then provide like the specific definition for that name of the attack, like as you're fighting it, which is just really fucking cool. Because we could have just looked that up, like I don't know, like any of us, you know, normally would, like you clearly did. You know what I mean? And, like see that explanation. If we didn't get that exposition in the story, then we would just have to like Google it and like find out. But it's cool that without saying the isomer part means this, we get that explanation in the narrative. It's super sick.
Absolutely, for sure.
I love how Mahito, like you already mentioned, you got a 20% body, which is his main body that Toto's talking about here. But he's playing like a caster role, and like he, you know, splits to have a tank out here to tank all, you know, the shit, and he gets to sit back and just fucking cast idle fucking transfigurations. Like Mahito's ability obviously is very, very versatile. We talk about it all the time, and it's just really cool to see, like, you know, there's going to be a lot of good application with that in the future, where it's just like, especially now that you can think of like, okay, if Mahito puts 99% into a clone and hides his 1% real body somewhere, I mean, I don't know if he can split it in that, and like that just adds a whole new fucking level of what Mahito can do. Like it really feels like,
but
more
then you beat the
like,
99%, and then
he can't fight. Then he leaves. Then he just leaves. He forms into a puddle and he leaves. Okay, I didn't win. But then there's no risk to him whatsoever. There's zero risk.
Besides not having 99% of his strength before he regenerates back to a good state.
But you just, you know, you just leave.
Mahito's rate of growth, man, is just truly terrifying. Like,
they need to kill this man.
I know we talk about this a lot on the, you know, y'all do more so than I do, but the rate of growth he has and like just his experimental, like fun-loving nature is just like crazy, because we're literally seeing him successfully pulling off a feat that he saw Gojo do just earlier this same fucking arc.
And
Gojo's literally the GOAT. Like the fucking GOAT. Like
we don't know how effective this 0.2 seconds of self-embodiment perfection is going to be.
It's not immeasurable void.
Well, one, it's not immeasurable void. Two, he's not Gojo. So like I think that Gege really likes to drive home the point that Mahito is a very adolescent curse. Like it's very scary seeing his rate of growth, but I think that that Gege makes a point to show that Mahito is not at a perfect state yet. He constantly makes mistakes in the form of underestimating his opponents, in the form of like having a really good idea for a strategy, but maybe not of thinking it through entirely as far as factoring in all of the possibilities, in which case he'll take damage and then study that information and then come back that much stronger the next time in a similar situation. So that's scary as shit on its own. They really need to kill Mahito very soon, because the longer he stays alive, the more we're looking at like a perfect cell kind of situation in upcoming. And it's very, very worrisome over here for me personally to see that and know that.
So with the 2.2 seconds, the domain expansion here, I mean, assumedly he's doing this obviously so he does. Well, first he states that he can't do it because Sukuna is going to kill him if he actually puts a, because we've seen it before, but like even putting it for 0.2 seconds, like if Yuji is within the domain for 0.2 seconds, like Sukuna can do something in that small amount of time. So like maybe, you know, Mahito will take big damage, like just like you said, like he has to fucking, it's a lot of trial and errors for him, you know, learning just how this rapid growth lets him use all these new fucking facets to his techniques. But a lot of it's just, you know, on the job training, trial and error, you know? So like he might learn like, nope, can't even get off a 0.2 second without like at least some detriment. You know, obviously I don't think Sukuna's going to one-shot him out of the fight basically, you know, because
that would be kind of anticlimactic for the reasoning why he's doing it in the first place in this way and whatnot. It'd be weird to have him do this stratagem and then have Sukuna reach him anyway. You know what I mean? But I just think it's super fucking cool how like Gojo did it for 0.2 seconds because he didn't want to kill everyone else around him. And Mahito wants to do it for 0.2 seconds because he doesn't want to kill himself. So it's just like super cool seeing that parallel there and the differences inside of it. But
so you mentioned Perfect Cell earlier, right? Like, and did you all get, in terms of another reference or whatever, his 80% body, his tank body? Do you all get Yuppie vibes, like huge Yuppie vibes from that, right? He's whipping around his arms and he's like growing eyes and shit, and like
he's
just
Yuppie.
Looks so inhuman.
He's very inhuman in that scene, which is I feel like is like raw. Like I mean, obviously it's not raw Mahito, but it feels more like what you would picture because I mean, like he does have a very charismatic exterior, you know, or I mean like personality, but it's also mixed in with like how attractive he's drawn, which like adds to this very like ominous and very threatening, you know, persona that he's developed as someone who's like kind of like the pretty boy serial killer, you know what I mean, which is always creepy. But but yeah, bro, fucking that like form where he's like got the arm whips with the Migi, his head looks like Migi, you know what I'm saying, from like Parasite and shit.
I was thinking Parasite too. Yeah. Very inhuman.
I just thought of a slug.
Someone grab some salt. Get some salt on this motherfucker ASAP. I know this form.
I'm just geeking at this panel of Toto throwing this rock, bro.
So that's cool. That's really that's big, right? Because like now, like we always assumed or figured that you could just like, you know, casually
imbue
just apply,
an object
with cursed energy. Like
cursed
we know
energy
that you can, but I didn't know. I don't think we've ever seen a situation where you could just do it on the fly, grab an inanimate object, charge it, and throw it. You know what I mean? Which is cool for Toto's technique, but like that's not exclusive to Toto. Anyone can do that. You know what I mean? As long as they have an understanding of Juryoku that allows them to pull something like that off. So that's really cool
that is massive because
I
remember us talking about on the show like how we thought, you know, it kind of limited his ability a lot where he could only do it with cursed objects like weaponry and other people and shit. But if you can just imbue any object with the fucking cursed energy and clap that bitch boogie woogie, you know,
makes you think
it's Shu from M.A.N.G.A, right?
That's Shu.
You know what I mean? So that's
but it makes you think you can just if he had prep, right? Like he could go there and literally imbue things with fucking cursed energy to like
so do we but see there's also the aspect of like how long does the cursed energy stay inside of those inanimate
I think he has to
objects?
channel it.
You have to channel it, right? So I mean that's cool for the strategy like setup, you know what I mean? Like that's obviously going to bring you into a very advantageous position if you do lure them into an area where you have set booby traps to some degree, but that's X amount less, you know, mana that you have in reserve to use. That's less curse energy you have on reserve to use like outside of that strategy. So you have to leave that cursed energy there, channeling it, we could assume, until you're ready to use it. In the meantime, you're fighting with the rest of the mana that you have left, and that might, you know, it's a double-edged sword, basically, is where I'm going.
I would say it depends, because it depends on your Juryoku control, because it literally needs to be the faintest, tiniest amount of cursed energy.
That's true.
It does not have to be any significant amount. It could be literally the smallest amount possible.
Detectable.
And then think about
it just has to be detectable.
You are absolutely right.
And so like think of Toto on the defensive, like, you know, as a ruse, running away and just touching stuff as he runs, and then fucking, and then you know, all sorts of fucking, you know, crazy shit.
But I don't know, man. That rock that he threw got a pretty dense ren on it.
That one,
that shit's got like
that's true. But is it drawn that way, or is it actually?
I was saying,
but here's like what I was thinking in terms of using this, right? Like, don't throw one rock, throw a handful of pebbles that you've each imbued. You throw like a spread, right? You have no idea which one you're gonna, you know, teleport, you know what I mean, with Boogie Woogie. So it's like, man, just thinking about all these, we've just come up with like 5 more applications for Boogie Woogie in just this conversation. Like, it's such a great ability. It's fantastic.
Yes. And you want to know what? Like, oh, go ahead, Eagle.
I was just depending on how like small you can break it down, like sand. You just fucking kick up a bunch of sand and view whatever grains you're touching while you throw them up.
I was going to say something like that too. You have so many options. You're like Smoker, basically, essentially, at that point. You can just move into whatever area of pocket sand that you've thrown. But you want to know what, dude? So, like, we're talking about idle transfiguration and how, like, you know, reminiscent of bungee gum it is because of its versatile application. right?
Yep.
But I mean, now that we're kind of like talking about Boogie Woogie a little bit here, I feel like Idol Transfiguration is much more versatile than Bungie-Gum, and like we just compare it because they're so similar in versatility. But like if you really take a look at it, like Idol Transfiguration is like up here, and Bungie-Gum is like down here. What's more so like on the level of Bungie-Gum is Boogie Woogie, in my opinion. I feel like that those are two very similar levels of versatility inside of an ability, more so than Idol Transfiguration. Because what we're seeing right now in this fight, this is some other
his dome off casually, and he's done.
Yeah,
just the shit he can do with his body is already.
Hisoka
like
couldn't
so
fucking
far
cut
above.
his head off,
exactly.
or allow his head to be cut off and then reattach it with texture. Surprise, you can get away with an arm or something. But like a head, you know what I mean? Like,
well, you know, he got away with getting his ass cooked, fucking by, you know, exploded by, you know. But hey, manga spoilers.
But I mean, like, see, that's the
Jujutsu Kaisen.
But another thing though, like with that Hisoka fight, is that his head wasn't severed, right? If your head is gone, like there's nothing you can do. If your heart stops, like when he was exploded, Bungie-Gum application in the post-mortem restarts the heart, that's fine. You can't do anything if the head is gone. So
yeah. So how about Mahito? Okay, splits, right? And then there's some let's just go to the panel so I can see.
That's when the eyes come out and the UP starts going down.
Head comes off. Yep, I'm wanting to talk about. So after that, there's a bunch of fighting on page 6, right? Like upper panel, you're seeing claps.
Sick panel.
Yeah, super sick panel of the claps. Yeah.
Yep. I love how they're like two separate panels, but it's like almost woven into one. And after that, though, the panel bottom right of 7, Mahito is coming back into his tank form. His main body is going back into the tank form, right?
Sure.
It is, and there's not a panel to show us what happens here. Like, do you figure that Mahito's just jumping back, his main body's jumping back into the tank form that isn't the real body, or he can literally still dispel the 20% and somehow Jurioku-ly transfer fucking back into?
Yeah, I think he's just transferring amounts of potency from one body to another, right? So like his consciousness is in both because it's sharing a soul. But like the amount of like, you know, cursed energy is being transferred from 80% in the caster body and 20% in the tank, or 80% in the tank body, 20% in the caster body, and he switches to the tank body so that he could probably use Idol Transfiguration at a close distance at this
just Toto's
So Eagle. So
I thought the tank Yuppie body was the one he turned into the polymorphic soul isomer. He was still in his caster shirtless body after that.
Right. So he's got he split his soul into the tank body and the caster body, and then the caster body
has the
makes the polymorphic soul isomer and sends it out because the 20% body is the one that can still cast curse techniques.
His real body.
Yeah,
the shirtless body.
Yeah, the shirtless body. The one with the shirt on it is just a massive, person to fight with.
At first, I was kind of on the fence, but like that makes sense that's what Toto means by the real body. Because it's like when you say the real body, to me, it means like, okay, if I killed the 80% body, Mahito doesn't die, but if I kill the 20% body, he does die.
I feel like that's true still.
But if that's the case, though, I mean, I guess it still is the case. Because
so the 20% body that's casting is the one that has his curse technique inside of it, and it's probably the one that if you destroy, you will actually kill Mahito.
And it's just still, though, like you think of, you got multiple clones out there, and if somebody's going for a death blow on you, you just dispel your main body, and you still just go in, you just teleport back into another body.
That's right.
So like, there's
it's like Ultron.
If that's what he's doing, because it could be that the panel on page 7, the bottom right panel on page 7, is meant to imply that like they did come into physical contact. You know what I mean? Because after this part, like if you page through, like then there is no more Yuppie body. It's only the main. It's only the main body with shirt on, right? So like, it's hard to say like what happened to that second body.
Yeah, I think they merged back together.
Yeah,
because
merging back together. Right.
The top panel on page 6 where they're doing the claps, you can see
they're separate.
In this top right panel, bottom right, shirtless Mahito. Right next to him, cloaked, slug-eyed Mahito. Right above him, next to Toho.
Toho animation.
Polymorphic soul isomer. They're all in the same panel. So
the
polymorphic soul isomer gets Toto the fuck out of there.
Yep.
Goes and follows him. But I think the other two Mahitos just came back together, because for the rest of the chapter after page 7,
you never see
Mahito has a cloak on.
Yeah.
And still the question, I mean, you guys are saying coming back together, and I think Nick,
we don't know how it happened.
No, I know, but I think you are on the side of them physically touching to come back together. Not I'm here and I dispel this one and I go back, and then there's like this fucking transfiguration of him coming back, and so like I come out of the side and I start talking shit, you know, because when I first saw the panel, my first read through, I'm like, did he literally just pop a head out of the fucking tank body just to talk shit for a little bit? Because I was like, that'd be funny.
That would be funny.
Because if you remember back to the Kugisaki fight, right? The only reason that it mattered which was the main body is that only the main body can do idle transfiguration.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Yes. Correct.
So we don't know if, as you're saying, Kiko, like, what if you kill the main body? Does the secondary body become the main body, or is it really easy for him to just teleport his consciousness across a distance to the secondary body? We don't know that. So like that is a big open question, I would say. I don't think we can answer it.
No,
but like it definitely, like if he can do that, that's huge, because then this talk of like the main body isn't what you'd normally think of with a shonen fighting, you know, system where it's like, oh, the main body, I just kill the main body, I win, right? But no, maybe you can't with Mahito.
Right. I think it comes down to time, right? I think that you can very much so kill the main body and destroy Mahito, but like, is he going to have the ability to bring his consciousness to a second body? So, you know what I mean, in the nick of time, you know what I mean?
While the main body exists.
Right,
sure,
exactly. So it all comes down to, like, if you can get the jump on that main body and exercise it, then that's the end of Mahito. But like, does he have the reaction time or the reaction speed necessary to, you know, deal with that if that situation arose? So
and can he do it remote, or does he have to touch the
yes,
body?
That is a big question too. I feel like he would be able to do it remote just because the body, the souls are shared anyway. So
so remotely, I would say then there would have to be some kind of condition, not only just like, can I sense it in time and just do it, right? Like, I would think like distance would matter. Like, okay, I can do this. I know an attack's coming for me and it's about to, you know, crush my whole shit and exercise me, whatever. But, and I see it in time and I go to channel the technique or whatever. He doesn't really have to, like, you know, it's not Naruto. He doesn't have to do hand sign or anything, but like, other than the domain expansion, hand sign with the mouth. But like, you know, okay, I triggered the technique to go off, but my consciousness doesn't get there in time, you know. And you know, like, how fast does the consciousness travel against fucking, you know, whatever space?
I would assume to get the speed of thought.
I think it's a fair assumption to make given magic systems, but it's a good question.
Right now, I think he has to do the weird Morphe shit back into his body to get. I don't know if he's playing with telepathic shit right now, but probably later.
I would think that, considering that it's like a soul related thing, you know what I mean? Like, it's Mahito, you know what I mean? So everything is soul related. I mean, like, if they're moving at soul speed, then like, which we could assume that he would be until we get information.
But
right? Like, which you could attribute to, which you could attribute to, like, you know, mind or thought speed. You know what I mean? I would assume. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I just feel like there needs to be conditions, right?
Yeah.
Like,
That's too quick.
On my hunter thinking, it's like that's too broken. Like, there needs to be some kind of setback or some kind of channeling time or something, right? If that's the case,
probably takes him a minute to access 100% of his capabilities again after the transfer, maybe.
I mean, if you got 10 clones out there and like, okay, you know, somebody does somehow figure out which the real one. It's like, if you just kill it and it would be really hard. Like, that's just,
it's supposed to be really hard for a final boss.
I know. Sure. I get it. But like,
though, thinking back, like, there's lots and lots of scenes of the secondary bodies jumping into the main body and kind of like, you know, mashing together and becoming a single body again. But obviously Mahito has potential to grow and develop his ability over time, right?
That's right.
Yep.
Well, shit, I think that's about it.
I think I'm good too. Wow, this was a chapter though. I'm excited to see what this domain expansion does coming into the next chapter. You know what I'm saying? I'm excited to see.
You mean just does in terms of like the small time duration?
Right, because of the small time duration, because we know what the immeasurable void or the unlimited void does inside of this 0.2 second period. It puts you into that same catatonic state that it normally would, but without like the psychological detriment of like flooding your mind with all of this knowledge, right? So I mean, it starts to do that, but like, and then it went into about how the
Well, didn't it go into how like some of them would get like mental repercussions from the shit? But,
yeah,
like,
that's what I was going to say.
Mostly not all of them.
Right. So like depending on the time, so like 0.2 seconds puts you into a catatonic state for like 5 minutes or some shit. You know what I mean? And like if it was like if it was a whole second, then you would be fucked up for like 3 months. You know what I mean, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking Gojo's ability?
Talking Gojo's ability,
yes,
right?
yes,
right.
Yeah,
so
he's not doing Gojo's ability.
No, I know that.
Own...
No.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
So
sure.
I know that he's.
I see what you're saying.
I know that he's. I'm saying the reason why Gojo did it and like what that 0.2 second activation did for Gojo.
Yeah.
So now I'm trying to like think about what this 0.2 second application does for Mahayana prison or self-embodiment and perfection if it's official.
Right. You know he has to be targeting Todo with it, right? Like
right. So it's just real quick a Todo tap and then boom, dispel, just so we can get the idle transfiguration off on Todo without awakening Sukuna. Yeah.
Well, and maybe if any of you guys remember exactly, like, okay, obviously the domain expansion allows for your ability to always hit. So like idle transfiguration is going, like with Nanami, had to touch Nanami multiple times, where like that's not the case for once you're in, man, I want to say Mahayana prison.
Yeah, I know, it's so much better.
but yeah, so like when fucking, you know, if Nanami was touched within there, he would have instantly been, you know, transfigured.
Yeah.
Now, did it have to be a physical touch? Like I felt like in the domain, like Mahito could like maybe make.
No,
I guess that's just how
I felt like there was hands materializing.
Yeah.
The fact that you were just in the space was basically like you were being touched already.
I would assume it's very similar to like Unlimited Death Swarm inside of Dagon's technique, where the fish just like materialize like as they come in contact with you.
That's
I would
what
assume
it
would be a touch in that regard, to where like the Mahayana prison or the self-embodiment touches you like as soon as the cursed energy comes in contact with you, then the hand materializes and transfigures you. But what I think, and a lot of people think that Todo is going to like show us a domain here. I think it would be much better if he just had an anti-domain technique, like a simple domain or a falling blossom emotion inside of inside of Naobito. You know what I mean?
That would be tight.
I think it would be way more hype because it's like, one, it's really hard to think about what a domain expansion would look like for Todo. You know what I mean? But not to say that M.A.N.G.A doesn't have that answer up their sleeve. I mean, if anyone's going to if we can't think of what his domain expansion looks like, M.A.N.G.A has, if he has one. So you know what I mean? So that'd be really cool to see, but I think what's more likely is an anti-domain technique. So I think that would be tight if we got information on Todo for the development that showed us that he was a part of a minor clan. You know what I mean? Not one of the big three. You know what I mean? I know that they were talking about anti-domain techniques inside of the Dagon fight. Existing inside of the three big clans, so Zenin, Kamo, and Gojo all have anti-domain techniques. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean that other clans don't. You know what I mean? It just means that those three definitely do. You know what I mean?
Well, those three had like specialized ones where like everybody else has been using Shinkage, you know, a simple domain. Like any other person, like Yui, you know, like
but they're all part of Shinkage
Kokichi.
though.
Mekamaru had he wasn't anybody serious. He had a simple domain technique passed down through his family, and he was just like some random fucko.
I think he got simple domain from Miwa and
put it in a bullet.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think there was backstory on him getting it from the family.
Maybe there was. Maybe there was. I can't remember.
I thought there was just backstory on its like
because he was talking about in his thing on when explaining it. He was talking about how like the non-powerful families have to have some shit to fight back against these domains and shit, and that's why they come up with simple domains.
Right.
Yeah, but
I thought he was really the first. No, it was me.
That's just exposition on how that ability came to be. It's not because Kokichi came from some clan.
Y'all didn't take it as like my family has this shit.
No, I don't remember it that way. I could go back and like read the pre-festival chapters and see, but like right now on the spot do not remember.
Well, Miwa and Kusakabe aren't related.
Right.
And they're using the same simple domain.
They're using the exact same swordsman style. They're using the exact same simple domain. You know what I mean? And they're not a part of the same family, right? So I think inside of Kokichi was Miwa has the simple domain. Obviously, he has access to it being close to Miwa. She goes, yeah, here you go. Take whatever you need for your experiments or whatever. And he just loads that simple domain into a bullet for when he eventually has to fight Mahito. That's just his stratagem. You know what I mean? But inside of Todo, I feel like we could see a anti-domain technique that's not a simple domain. It's not the falling blossom emotion. It could be a simple domain and just Todo's version of it, depending on where he comes from, you know, bloodline wise. I don't know. We don't know anything about Todo besides he's the delinquent primate high schooler of Jujutsu Technical High School. You know what I mean? So, and he bodied like 5 special grades without using a technique. That's really all we know. Yeah.
So I feel like it's possible that he doesn't have a domain expansion or won't use it here or whatever.
Yeah.
Because like we've seen people fighting within these, you know, domain expansions, right? Like against Dagon, even against this, you know, surefire technique of you know, all these, you know, sea creatures just going at you, right? Like you can still fight back. You can literally still, you know, or like the wee May stuff against that like smallpox curse or whatever, right? Like they were able to fight. So what if Mahito is like, I'm just gonna target Todo, and Todo's just like, bam, you're targeting Yuji now.
You can't use your curse technique inside of a domain.
Oh, you can't use your curse technique in it though.
Right, right, and see with Dagon, the Death Swarm is just damage. With Gojo, the Unlimited Void is damage in the form of crazy information processing,
brain damage.
Right, and then with and then with the Smallpox curse, the sure hit was trap you in a coffin, drop a rock on you. It's still just damage. Mahayana Prison is literally death
so
upon
fucking
touch.
Lame.
Like it's guaranteed death upon touch. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a little bit
that's
different.
A good reminder that you can't use your curse technique in a domain. So Toto's got to find some way out of this because we can't lose Todo.
Exactly.
That's not an option for me.
See, use Bird Bomb. Maybe use Bird Bomb to kill that fucking plague, the smallpox deity fucking curse. May use Bird Bomb to kill it, but Wee did use Simple Domain when they switched. And Wee goes into the fucking coffin. I know Wee. I don't know Wee. Whatever.
It's Wee.
It's Wee.
I'm still laughing at the fact that he's like trap you in a coffin,
drop a rock on you. Yeah.
So
that's not how that works. Actually, no. Once you drop the rock on it, it pushes the coffin underground.
Yeah.
And then the curse counts 1, 2, 3, and if you're still stuck in the coffin, you get hit with the smallpox. You get hit with the plague.
Yeah.
So
that's exactly how it works. I was just making a joke.
Yeah.
There still was the rock.
You're just expediting the explanation so we can not focus on that.
Correct.
But yeah, like I just think that I mean. Even this domain, I guess it could be instant. I cast it in whatever the fucking, space, whatever the fucking, what about territory size? I don't know, whatever. It happens instantly. I think it might not though. Like,
there had to have been a situation inside of the Mei fight where like the domain stopped and then she used the bird bomb.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah. The domain had to have been dispelled at some point in order for her to have access to the bird bomb, because otherwise, while she was getting domain attacked over and over again and she was stressed out, she could have just bird bombed him.
Or did Wee Wee's domain reveal a space within which you can use a curse technique? I forget if it was something.
Because his simple domain was like a bubble.
No, but his simple domain is only in the bubble of the coffin. So he counted 1, 2, 3 and didn't get hit with the pox because he had the simple domain around. But no, you're right.
And it still doesn't matter because even if you have the simple domain bubble, you still can't access curse techniques.
I remember though. Wee when he powers up his Juryoku and Mei
forced it to attack him.
And that wasn't a AoE fucking domain. It was a fucking single target domain. And that's how you can have different types. That was the difference where my is going to just be a big territory.
So so like if you're the target of the sure hit technique, then you can't use your curse technique. But if you're not the target, then you can, is basically what you're saying. So that's really cool. So then that means if that is the case, I mean, we can go back and read it, obviously, and someone in the comments will probably correct us if we're wrong. But if that's the case, and there are different classifications of domain expansion, then that's a really big deal. And I don't know if we've ever talked about that, like, until this point. So
I think, Noxie, you were onto something then, and this is definitely going to be more something like Dagon's. And with the Death Swarm or whatever, he would allocate a certain amount of his potency, power output to each target. So is it going to be a similar situation with this transmogrification where Mahito allocates different percentages of his transmogrification ability to these targets?
He can't target Yuji with it.
Right, he can, obviously. So it's going to be 100% Todo.
Yeah.
But does he, can he pick?
Is it a similar application, you guys
right, exactly. Right.
Well, think of it like Pato's N. Can we just tenderly put this fucking little box going this way and like leave Yuji out of it. Like, I don't know. Like, so maybe that's possible.
I think the reason, I think the exposition that we get that it's a 0.2 second domain expansion because he only wants to target Todo and not Yuji, right?
Yeah.
But then like if it's a all-encompassing, anyone who's inside of the domain feels the effect of the sure hit technique and it's not a single target, then this 0.2 seconds of an expansion would obviously target both of Yuji and Todo simultaneously and would still piss off Sukuna. So I don't think if it is an all-encompassing sure hit technique I don't think that that's what Mahito's trying to do here then. But if it's a single target, then why only do it for 0.2 seconds if you can choose the target?
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's it's that much more confusing trying to think about it at this point.
Is he trying to say, like, I think I can kill Todo in 0.2 seconds, but survive Sukuna for 0.2 seconds?
Yes, that's what I think. That's why I was saying I think Sukuna can still do something to Mahito within that time. Mahito's willing to take however much damage that he estimates Sukuna could do to him in 0.2 while just instantly killing Todo and still having enough left to come out
fight Yuji afterwards.
And to fight Yuji afterwards. Especially with
escape.
But I mean, presumably Sukuna could just instantly. So like, I don't know. Like,
but he did that to Mahito last time, and Mahito survived it. You know what I mean? So he instantly slashed him as soon as he made contact.
Said, "I'm basically letting you leave this one. I'm letting you skate on it."
He threatened him first and was like, "Don't fucking touch this soul again, bro, or I'm going to kill you." And then he expanded the domain. And he's like, "I fucking warned you, kid," and then slashed his shit, and he still survived that. So. Yeah,
I think that's the key then, actually, that he knows, Mahito knows he can take a slash in a 0.2 second and survive.
Back when there was 4 fingers Sukuna in Yuji's body, though.
Oh, I guess that's a big difference.
And back when Sukuna maybe wasn't trying as hard as he could try in that situation, right? He was like, this guy's pretty weak, I'll just do this. Blah.
Yeah, and it didn't work. Yeah, like Meruem when he hit Pitone was like, I was trying to take your head off with that and didn't kill you.
Exactly.
But you would assume that Sukuna would remember that and say, okay, I'm going to give you way more this time.
And at 15 fingers. So I think that this is just Mahito being naive and not remembering that Yuji's like 50 or 11 times more powerful now, or whatever the fuck, 10 times more powerful now. You know what I mean?
Last time he just gave him the cleave. This time he finna hit the.
It was wild. They were like, we're done with this. And then we talked for another 20
minutes. What the fuck?
Jujutsu Kaisen, baby.
That's Jujutsu Kaisen for you, though.
One thought, just poof. Go.
But I'm good. I'm actually good now.
Me too.
One last thing, quick. I wanted to appreciate the art on this self-embodiment of perfection.
It's a different design than we've seen in the expansion before.
Was it the baby? Was it the baby expansion before?
No.
We saw it from Megumi's first expansion, like the partial. And now it's the full.
No, because I think it was always a full because he always had a bubble, right? But I think that the difference here is inside of the design of the hands coming out, because now you can see tendons and now you can see cartilage and now you can see
Titan hands.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You can see the muscles, you know what I mean, underneath the skin. So that could mean that this is, maybe you can see the tendons because it's not a full expansion because he's only doing it for 0.2 seconds, so you don't get the fully skinned hands. You know what I mean? Because it's so quick. You know, it's just like halfway through.
Observation. That's a good thought.
That was for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
This time we can actually move on.
This time for sure. Wait, one more thing. Just kidding.
All right.
So, well, then with that, we can go ahead and move right into chapter 92 of Chainsaw Man. Zombie Blood Chainsaw.
This is an amazing color spread.
Yes, this color spread.
Probably my favorite color spread of the year.
Big feels.
Sad but beautiful. You know?
Yeah, it's very, very powerful.
Yeah.
And I mean, speaking of powerful, that
big feels.
The dialogue between Kobeni and Denji this chapter, man, was super fucking powerful for me. And like these last 2 chapters of Chainsaw Man specifically for me have been like super fucking good.
Yeah.
Because they've like reinvigorated my enjoyment of the series. Like for a long time, I've said it a few times, like under my breath on the show, like, man, I've been low-key hating this shit. But like, I have low-key been hating Chainsaw Man because,
just the investment in
I like happiness in my fantasy fucking manga series, Shonen.
You were looking for positivity in Chainsaw Man. That's where you fucked up.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know, I like happiness when I'm trying to escape life.
Yeah.
But, man, this Kobeni dialogue about just the world and like, no matter what you do, I always think about this. Like, no matter what you do, no matter where you go, like, you cannot escape the fact that there's shitty people in the fucking world perpetrating shitty things that happen to other people. Because of like greed, corruption, whatever the fuck you want to, you know, blame it on. But it's just like, man, that really hit home for me and like really just brought a tear to my eye.
Yeah.
Because like, that's some real ass shit, bro. And then that fucking panel afterwards, the double spread of Kobeni and Denji.
Yeah.
Beautiful panel. Yeah.
Dude, I love that. And even before she starts talking to Denji, she's having a conversation with Kishibe that is really like heartrending too, because she's like, yo, I saw some things I shouldn't have. Makima, we know what she does with people who see too much. Like, is she gonna kill me? Kishibe is like, yeah. And then just like the reaction of Kobeni's face on page 5 to him saying like, yeah, Makima's gonna kill you is so like, there's not a whole lot of detail to the facial expression, but it's still a very realistic and like you can feel exactly what she's thinking and feeling inside of that facial expression, which Fujimoto's just really good about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you know, her talking about well, I can't phone my family. I can't see them ever again. And he's like, yeah, probably not. And she's like, whew, thank goodness. You know, and I can't wait to get her backstory.
Yeah.
I felt that.
I mean, we have a little bit. I don't know if we'll really get much more. You know, it's just the fact that, you know, one of her siblings is gifted and they're very poor and they need to all like contribute to make sure that sibling goes to college. And like, so she's, you know, being a devil hunter to give it all to the fucking golden child of the family, you know, and I
would assume there's some kind of like abuse in regard to like her parents. You know what I mean? Like forcing her to do this so that she can pay for their kids while they're probably like alcoholics or junkies and just don't want to work. So they want Kobeni to risk her life for money so that the family can survive in some kind of, you know, reputable way.
I think she even said earlier, like, I think it's all the way back in the Eternity Devil arc where she's like, yeah, it was either a brothel or this. Like, this is the options that I had.
Yeah,
I'm pretty confident.
So I think that's a pretty clear indicator that she's being forced into this kind of situation. I mean, of course, obviously, we want to naturally assume that she's doing it out of, you know, a sense of duty or compassion as the only capable one that can work in her family. You know what I'm saying? Well, you know what I mean? Like, of her own volition in sense of like, okay, I don't have any way to make the money that I need to support my family. The best routes to making money are like prostitution or devil hunting. So like, you could assume that she just like cares about her family and wants to support them. And there's some kind of like factor that keeps them from making money themselves. But it could, Fujimoto could flip the script and say, no, these people suck. And they're making her do this. You know what I mean? Because they're shitty people. You know what I mean? And that would kind of explain that scene, I feel like, a lot more.
Yeah. I mean, she's just so happy to abandon them without the guilt. Because, you know, obviously they've fucking gaslighted and guilted her to shit, you know, and that's the only reason you would feel this way, really. If you know, like, you're basically being thrown at death's door. Like, your parents don't care about you. They only care about this child. And that's just how it is. Like, I mean, it's powerful. Definitely. Yeah.
So when Denji is saying in this conversation with Kobeni, like, you know, I feel like I'm always going to be living in obedience to someone like a dog. And Kobeni's like, isn't that just normal? The thing that first came to my mind, aside from it being very, you know, powerful and compelling and, you know, a great dialogue, I'm like, but what if Chainsaw Man kills and eats Makima? And the control devil goes away, and you can't control people anymore. There's no way to do it in physical reality because you've removed the concept of control. Like, maybe it doesn't have to be normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that you making that point about this particular line of dialogue in their exchange about how Denji was like, I'm just going to keep ending up being a dog for somebody else and being used as a tool no matter who it is. And Kobeni's like, isn't that normal? I think that that's more evidence that she's being forced into this situation to support her family. You know
that too. Yeah, that's a great point. Great point.
So you just saying that, Nick, kind of like sparked a thought in my head. And I'm like, why doesn't he eat the bitch?
she's when she's asked that too.
Times now he could have eaten her.
Yeah.
But that was Pochita.
And he doesn't.
That was Pochita in control at that time, wasn't it?
I don't know if before that. I did. I remember us talking about this. I don't necessarily think he killed her 26 times just in that fight. I thought she was talking about in general, over the span of her and the entire history of him her trying to fuck with him.
I agree with you.
What if like he can't? because if you really think about it, like control exists on a much greater level than like, if you really want to think about it, like gravity controls where planets go around a star. If you got rid of control on like an existential level, what the fuck happens there?
Oh, that's a cool question, dude.
Great point. If a sculptor is molding clay, are you controlling clay? Does that mean like everything in the universe becomes static and nothing can change because control implies change and manipulation, right? That kind of stuff. Like, it's a great question.
That is a great question.
What if because of like laws of physics and the way the universe works, you can't eliminate certain concepts or fears, but then
because the framework of the reality will come apart and everything will get super unsettled. I don't think that I think that we'll see it going into like that levels of depth. As far as like, I mean, you never know with Fujimoto Tatsuki. I mean, we had the Cosmo, Halloween chapter, you know what I mean? Which was pretty drastic along the lines of what Eagle is talking about right now. So we definitely could see application reach that level of depth, but I feel like it's just all up to Fujimoto. You can have very simple explanations for phenomena inside of this comic, or you can have very elaborate, complicated, explanations for things that are happening. So
I think that with what Eagle's saying here, I feel like that I'm with you a lot, because think about like Denji eating a darkness devil, right? Like you can't erase darkness, really.
It would erase
a lot of things. So exactly, and so that would just make that supports the fact that Makima is a primal fear devil, and you just can't eat the primal fear devils, probably because of their rules on the universe, whatever.
Well,
they're linked into the fabric of reality in a way that you can't remove.
The moon controls the tides. Like, there's just so much like.
So much control.
If you eliminated that on an existential level, the tides like go away. The moon doesn't control the tides anymore. What does that do to the planet and the ecosystem? And like, there's so many repercussions that you would get from deleting control on a cosmic existential level. Like,
but we still have to talk about like the level of erasure that we're looking at here, right? Because the examples of erasure that we have are like the Holocaust didn't happen. Well, the Holocaust isn't happening right now. So like if the memory of the Holocaust, was the only thing that was erased, then like the Holocaust still happened and people just don't remember it. So if you eat Makima and the idea of control goes away, control can still happen and people are just going to be like, holy shit, what am I looking at when they see it next? You know what I mean?
So it's similar to Undead Unluck, where when it unified the language on a global scale, there's people that still can speak Chinese, Czech,
negators,
Japanese, but people are like, what the fuck are they talking about?
Yeah, exactly. So I just don't remember this concept. I don't think the entire like possibility of it being a thing that can actually happen gets erased. I don't think that that's the case. I think it's just people's memory of a certain concept goes away. That concept can still exist, and it just surprises people the next time they see it.
So gravity still controls planets. Moon can still control the tides, except people just go back to like not understanding what the fuck is going on.
Makima said 3 other options other than death were erased. That's not a memory. That is a fucking actual fucking, like that's real. Like if there was literally 4 paths of death and 3 of them are now gone, and now all you have is whatever.
The one that is easiest for us as 3-dimensional beings to remember. Yeah. Because I
could also make the argument though that like our ability to access those paths has gone because our knowledge on them has ceased to exist,
Right. But no. What I was saying though, like to piggyback off of what Kiko was saying, is that remember when that scene when we first got the information that the chainsaw devil can eat things and erase that concept from reality, right? Makima, which was a beautiful scene, Makima was giving examples of some things we know, some things that are entirely fictional to the world of Chainsaw Man, right? So like when she says, do you remember the Holocaust? And Kishibe is like, no, that's something that everyone remembers. So that concept is gone. That sets that precedent that holy shit, things get erased. That was a super trippy scene. But then she also listed off like 3 other things that that us don't know about because they aren't real things. So it creates a level of like, intensity in that scene, because you're naming off things that we know and things that we don't know. And obviously the things that we don't know, we don't remember. But the trippy part is the Holocaust, which everyone remembers, also being gone. So it could be a situation where like, okay, the concept like doesn't exist already, but we're saying that it no longer exists as if it did, which are the 3 other paths besides death. You know what I mean? So like that scene wants to say, yeah, you can still die because that's what's easiest to comprehend is the act of death. But these other 3 possibilities besides death, we were going crazy trying to think of what those could even be when we got that chapter. So like we can't, it doesn't matter that those things have been erased because we can't comprehend them anyway. You know what I mean? So it could be a situation.
But just because you can't comprehend them doesn't mean they wouldn't still happen.
Right. No. Right. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying this could be a situation where instead of saying like, okay, we're not eating death because death can't be erased, you know, because we can't comprehend, or light. I'm sorry. So like you can't eat the darkness devil because we can't comprehend a reality without light. So therefore, Fujimoto just doesn't take that path in the story. Because how do you write that? You know what I mean? Yeah. So it could be a situation where, like the concept that's in question right now being eaten is still possible to be eaten and forgotten about. But I mean, like, if it's really hard to like write that in a believable way in the story, then Fujimoto just won't take that route. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Sure.
So, yeah.
I feel like it's still a good question. Like, does
it? It is a great question.
Does it remove it from existence, or does it remove the memory of it happening? Therefore, no one's afraid of it, and the devil doesn't exist. But then, like, it could happen again.
Yeah.
I would like to think like it removes it from reality and existence, but that does severely complicate how you write that. Right? Like, I can imagine you kill the darkness devil, right? Or you eat the darkness devil. Every single being's eyes. No one has eyes anymore because darkness and light require eyes to see
and identify.
Right? So then, boom, no human beings have eyes anymore because there's no concept of sight.
Holy shit!
Right? But you still have smell and taste and sound, and everyone's still, you know, acting as if everything's fine.
Yeah.
That maybe that's how you kill the darkness devil, right? I don't know. It's like so.
Yeah, it's
strange to think about.
To try to wrap your mind around.
I mean, yeah. The only other thing is that there would be just light, but like no shadows or darkness, which would be another. That's a hard thing.
Yeah, only light.
Yeah. With light. I mean, obviously, based on angles and shit, shadows exist, darkness exists. So it's like that would be really hard to.
Well, you'd live in a 2-dimensional world then, right? Like you can't live in a 3-dimensional world.
Oh, there's so many.
So you'd be a flatlander.
Yeah,
we'd all turn into flatlanders.
Let's put our Kyrie Irving pants on here.
So going further into the chapter or whatever, after this beautiful double spread with Kobeni and Denji kind of just like chilling on the wall or whatever, we get this scene where Denji's hearing what's on TV, right? He's hearing the announcer being like, Chainsaw Man, there's not a soul who doesn't know his name in his newscaster voice, right? And he's seeing all these people like shouting his name, right? I just want to plug in the Prime Minister theory again. What if we have all these people across Japan being like, Chainsaw Man, Chainsaw Man, and the Prime Minister's like, well, I'd like to meet this young man, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And then Denji kills them and everyone's scared of the chainsaw again, and then he gets super powerful and then kills Makima with like, because the Prime Minister isn't there to reallocate her damage anymore, and Denji is like full potential because everyone is like terrified of the chainsaw because they just saw it kill the Prime Minister. So
it's the biggest, smartest power up at the same time I think I've ever heard of in a manga, right? Because it's like it's like you remove Makima's contract to just infinitely reincarnate, or just regenerate, and you get all that fucking fear strength back. Like that's just if that I really want that to happen, because it's like I don't think I've ever heard of something in another story that like works like that. Like it's you hear of like a 2 birds and 1 stone situation all the time, but like I don't know, not like that. Like I don't know. It feels different.
This is literally Fujimoto, and I don't know if this is on purpose or just because this is the way that his world ended up as he's writing it, but like this is literally the polar opposite of the term asshole. You know what I mean? Like this is as far away from that idea as you can get. You know what I mean? So
Does anybody else want Denji to actually activate here and like maybe start? Like, I was really hoping he was going to be like, fuck this, I'm about to activate. I'm about to go off on some dolo shit and start making my own decisions and fuck some shit up.
That would be crazy growth to see.
Is he too stupid to even do that?
I feel like he might be. I mean, I don't know. You never know, because conviction doesn't really require intelligence. You know what I mean? So like you can be dumb as shit and like have you know, 100% unwaverable motivations and dedication to something. You know what I mean? So if Denji really did say, fuck this shit, I'm tired of being a puppet, I'm doing whatever the fuck I want to do right now, I don't think that notion requires too much intellectual like capability, in my opinion.
But I will say that like there's probably some philosopher along the years who said this, you know, point, but like the first step to knowledge is acknowledging that you're not smart. You know what I mean? Like
that's Seneca. That's literally Seneca.
Sure.
Yeah,
so like
wow.
he has at least acknowledged that like, damn, like I've been a pawn this entire time. Like all the good shit, all the bad shit has been manipulated. That's a big first step to take to then going to actual, you know, self-actualization and actual self-control and all that stuff. So I think it's great growth for Denji, or at least great, you know, seeds of growth.
That would be crazy to see inside of his character, to be honest with you. I would be so here for that.
Did any of you guys feel? No, go ahead, Eagle. Mine's
I was just going to say, what vibes were you guys getting from these last few panels where he's staring at the TV? Like, were you getting like despair, determination? Like,
this is a good question. Yeah, because he does look very frantic watching the news right now.
I think he's just in awe that this many people adore him, and I think it is rejuvenating,
reinvigorating.
Right? I agree. Yeah. But what my little point here is, does it feel like Kishibe's having a real tough time sitting down, right? Like them devil contracts really took a toll. I mean, he's like 50 years old, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, I made it. I sat down.
Yeah, like, you are definitely right.
I mean, why would you have a panel of him like grabbing the arm of the chair and then just like slowly going down in the chair like this? It's just like really indicative of like his lifespan is very short from here on. Like it's his meter is almost full. He's done. Like this is his last fucking thing he can do.
He's almost done with all of his living.
And but this is like his last, you know, shot against Makina's shot. Anything that he can, you know, do to contribute, this is it. So he's really got to make it count. Which, you know, they're chilling, they're rejuvenating. I you know, hope he gives us some direction on what that is. But I mean, Fujimoto, we might not say, bet, let's go. And we all jump out of here and something happens. We have no idea what it is. And it's like, presumably there was a conversation, but we didn't get it, you know, like, and we'll maybe flash back to it or just, we have to figure it out. Either way is good for me. But
I think we're looking at an activation of like both Denji's like newfound conviction and determination, and also Kobeni's, you know what I mean? Because Kishibe is here. He's very experienced. He'll probably tell her like, yo, you want to know why you've survived all of these hellish experiences up until now? Because someone as experienced as me can tell that this is a devil contract, and you might not be aware of it, but like you have fortune on your side. You know what I'm saying? You have luck on your side. I can see him being the vehicle to awakening that realization inside of Kobeni in a way, because we know that she's capable physically. You know what I mean? So maybe she's just missing that confidence of knowing she has a devil contract on her side, and Kishibe awakens that inside of her, and we see a tandem joint effort inside of Kobeni with these new realized, you know, abilities inside of herself, and Denji with these newfound convictions, and they go together as like this final boss like duo, which I think would be an amazing way to close out this arc. Personally,
it is very possible that she doesn't realize that she has a devil contract, because even though so like against Sawatari, what you're talking about, like Katana Man arc, you know, shoots the fucking snake at, and she just jumps over it, you know, fucking like shundos over and fucking, you know, puts the knife up to Sawatari. Like, you know, it's just like it's almost like, you know, you could say her devil contract took over, or maybe there is just like this, I don't know, because of her trauma, she does have like a fucking, you know, schizophrenic alter ego, some kind of thing.
Or she has a base level of confidence, or she has a base level of confidence against a certain caliber of opponent that she, you know, uses intuition to kind of like gauge, you know what I'm saying? So like if she's wildly confident about her performance in a certain fight, then we'll see that Kobeni that is wildly confident in combat. But if it's an overwhelmingly oppressive force, like a fully realized Chainsaw Man, for example, like obviously you just can't move because you're so scared, you know what I mean? So I feel like she was just confident in that moment, but it definitely could be a Hakuba kind of situation where she like enters combat and just activates, you know what I mean? So, I will say that I'm pretty sure she does know she has a devil contract, because I think in the Infinity Devil arc, people were saying like, well, what's your ability or whatever, or when they first met Kobeni, she was like,
my devil contract is a secret, right?
Yeah,
like she knew she had when she said,
you are
not
correct.
Tell you
are
is.
correct. You are correct. But that could still be the possibility that she just doesn't realize the full potential of her devil contract. It could be
a schizophrenia Hakuba kind of situation where like she can't use it unless she like flips into an alternate personality or so it could definitely be along those lines, and that's why she's so afraid.
Yeah, even though
when she's being badass.
Yeah, even though she knows she has a devil contract, she's afraid as if she's just a regular civilian, and that could be because she blacks out when she enters her combat state. And that Hakuba kind of situation takes over, and she doesn't know when and how to activate it. It just happens on its own. So it could maybe not activate when her life is in danger, and then she could still die. So that like plays into her timid nature and why she's afraid of things despite that.
Yep. Yeah. Wow. I think we really went ham on this segment for not like it's you know
not a whole lot of meat and potatoes, man.
Yeah.
But still,
you got something else? Look like you had something else.
Yeah, you look like you're cooking on.
My head is just going crazy right now.
Yeah,
I don't want to say what I'm thinking, but like, I was just cooking up some crazy shit.
Well, go drop it off. What you mean? We here in receiving, waiting.
I was just thinking, this like this dialogue is like peculiar to me, where like something is weird about just her dialogue and like the paneling afterwards of accepting your dreams and just like. Something about like everyone in their dreams is always like wildly capable.
Shit, and not me.
Yeah,
I was getting eaten by a dog.
I'm the one that can never reach the hot chick in the bikini on the beach.
You're probably
I lose stamina and
in most
speed.
dreams, people are wildly capable.
Yeah,
but also nightmares are some of the shit that people fear most.
Yeah,
so it makes sense that there would be a dream/nightmare devil.
Ooh,
I don't know. What if she had
nightmare devil, bro?
And
Freddy Krueger?
Oh, that's why maybe she's always so wildly capable, because like it would be the enemy's worst nightmare that she would be that capable.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, wait.
Or if you have nightmare ability, it's as if you can exercise dream-like stuff, right? So like it's there's the scariness of nightmares, but that's hinting at the dream space. So then when Kobeni's like being attacked, she's dreaming of the way out of it. She's dreaming of the way to maneuver her body.
So it's a dream for her because she becomes more capable in that dream state, but it's a nightmare for the opponent because they're like, holy shit, this person is matching
and
my
her body is in a possession-like state.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has to conk out like a Hakuba for it to activate. I
like that. Eagle with the buckets. I like that. Yeah. I love that, bro. Fuck yeah.
Well, shit. Yeah. I think that's about it for Chainsaw Man.
Yeah, what a great thought to close out on. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then with that, we can probably go ahead and shuffle right into chapter 38 of Mashle. Mosh Burned Dead and the Magic Mirror. And starting right off, I think that this obsidian epidermis that this dude had, this is made of obsidian, right? Because his magic is obsidian.
Or it's like carbon or something.
Carbon,
We've seen them both.
But this is Rock Lee. This is Rock Lee, right? Or I mean, this is Gara, right? This is Gara. Yeah. My bad.
This exoskeleton is pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
I like this.
This is super tight. It's a cool reusage of obviously a Naruto concept. I don't know of any other things that we can attribute to a scene like this inside of the history of the genre. You know what I mean? Besides that Gara sand armor. You know what I mean? But that's really cool to see that used in this way here, because obviously that's going to be a major point of the eventual defeat of this character, is going to be getting through that obsidian shield the same way that Rock Lee got through that sand shield inside of Gara. So it's going to be really cool to see how the Mashle creator handles that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Mash is basically Rock Lee with, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah. So let me ask you, this bad guy, now we know his name is Cell War. Fine, whatever. Weird ass name.
Abyss Razor.
Yeah, right. Yeah, some wonky names in this story. Yeah. But so when this dude pulls out the mirror, did you like me? I immediately knew it was going to happen, immediately, right? He's going to be like, I'm going to use this, and Mash is going to punch or kick right through it, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I can see it happen immediately. I see this mirror, you know?
Yes,
what I mean?
yes,
you get the diagram of it hits, and then it's double power back. It's okay, I thought it was getting punched through, Kick works for me. But
that double spread was so drastic, bro.
It was so drastic, and it was done perfectly, in my opinion, where it's like he literally goes from one panel saying shit to the next. No, like, panel of Mash blitzing at all. It's just one panel he's talking, the next he's kicked in his fucking face.
Yeah, and his stance is very Taekwondo. You know what I'm saying? It's a very it's a very refined martial art discipline style, you know, kick where we've seen
he's torquing that hip.
Yeah, exactly. Like you could see like that, like, I don't know, if you read a bunch of martial arts manga, then you'll know that they always talk about like transferring energy from like the tip of the toe up through the hips, and then like, you know, moving your body in a way that shoots that energy out in like a you know, a useful way. That's definitely like, I could see refined martial arts discipline inside of this stance, which is cool to think about, because all we've ever seen from Mash so far is just him lifting weights. But like, that's all really the development that we've gotten, you know what I mean, outside of finding out how compassionate he is for anybody, regardless of how shitty they are. You know what I mean? So like, that's what we know about Mash right now. So there's a huge origin arc flashback situation that could happen that shows, you know, Mashle not just weight training, but also martial arts training in a variety of different disciplines, maybe from watching videos, because he was a very sheltered kid, you know what I'm saying? So I can see him, you know, just literally just watching fucking like old school kung fu movies all day, you know what I mean? And just adapting,
refining his technique.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? So that'd be a really cool piece of information to get for him.
It's always one of those things, like, you know, it's a manga, it's an Eastern story here. So like, you normally just assume martial arts are implied, right? But this is a fucking, you know, Harry Potter gag manga. So you're like, you know, I mean, he could just, you know, steal on you. Anybody could throw a punch. Like, that's not necessarily martial arts, right? But like it is really, you know, nice to see. It's like, okay, there is this, and it certainly could just be that Mash is so gifted fucking physically that he don't really need to fucking like actually have formal training. He just like kind of knows how the body works and knows optimal ways to fight, which martial arts, that's what that's for. So you know, but I just really think it's nice to see, you know, in this story that like, it wasn't just going to be a Saitama situation, right? It's just, you know,
and up until this point, it kind of has been. We haven't really seen too much technique in the attacks that he's used. It's literally just throwing a knee at you, throwing an elbow at you, throwing a punch at you. Anyone can do that regardless of training, but this double spread right here shows form that like really heavily, like, and even if you were just, you know, prodigious with physical strength and you just understand the body, you know, enough, like, you still can't get, you know, artistic levels of form and discipline, you know, showing through your techniques without some kind of training to some degree, you know what I mean?
I think the knee did too. Perfect. I mean, the knee is like Anderson Silva, right? Like that's Muay Thai.
Yeah.
Like,
hey, Leota the Dragon Machida, put some respect on my boy.
Yeah, but see, like, anyone can throw that knee, you know what I mean? Like, Anderson Silva is you know, obviously we know that he's trained, and when he throws the knees, he knows the time to do it. He takes advantage of a lot of different things, but just the act of throwing the knee doesn't really command too much idea that there's training involved. But this right here, in his stance, the way that his foot is placed on the ground, just the way that his body is contorted, the way that he has, like, you could just feel a dojo flashback inside of this double spread, you know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah, bro. That paneling, bro. I remember as I'm reading, I just literally was reading what he's saying. I'm like, oh yeah, he's talking shit. Mash is about to kick through this fucking mirror. And I turn the page, I'm like, oh! What the fuck, bro?
Like, oh shit.
Buddy is getting feet off the ground.
That impact illustration is so, like, that impact illustration is so, like, modern Morikawa art, you know what I'm saying? It feels very Hajime no Ippo, but at the same time, like, it feels very, like, this is a very similar impact illustration that we see in, like, Gear second attacks from Luffy, you know what I'm saying? So, like, it very much obviously implies speed and force. You know, being
immense speed and power.
Immense speed,
sound barrier breaking.
But I mean, if my mangaka have to be, but I mean, I think that the impact illustration, I mean, it'd be easy to imply that this or it would be easy to assume that this implies sound barrier breaking speed. But like, and I mean, like, it's fucking Mash, so I mean, I wouldn't put it past him. But you know what I mean? But yeah, it's just like, if you as a manga illustrator can nail impact, you know what I mean? Like, you've got me. Like, your action scenes got me. You have really good impact shots.
Sound barrier isn't necessarily that fast in the world of manga, right? Like 750 miles an hour, roughly, whatever it is. Somewhere in the 700s is the sound barrier. So, like, that's you know,
I think Hajime Komoto has proved himself on these impact panels.
Oh yeah. He can show high trauma attacks like very well, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and not just on the application or like the attack, but on like the receiving end too. It's very believable that this person looks like they've taken a shit ton of damage every time they do. So
well, and that's what it looked like at the end of last chapter, and I thought he was out of there. Because that uppercut was drastic, bro. I'm like, what the fuck, bro? And he was clean, but that's kind of dovetailing off your point of like, it's good that it's not going in a One Punch Man direction where like obviously in One Punch Man we've still never seen somebody that could take Saitama's attacks and just shrug it off and be like, I'll see you next time. This guy, you know, nice establishment of like, there's much more powerful motherfuckers than you out here. You're not going to be able to just do what you do. Now you're going to have to improve.
Right. Yeah. And when this reality cracks and the hands come out, I thought that was Abel really like turning the fuck up. Yeah.
Devil Gundam or some shit. Like, what is going on right now? Kyoji! Like, hold on, bro.
Erupting, burning, finger.
But like, it's so like how many like different magical attributes, because okay, sure, we can say carbon and obsidian are close enough, and that could be, I don't know, like maybe even a translation issue, whatever, you know, and that's fine. But it's like we see him basically negating space, or not negate, or you know, like a Limitless, where they were literally fucking, you know, that Rain's fucking sword comes flying at him and it just gets deflected by air, which it's crazy because these hands are coming out of fucking actual space, out of outer space. Yeah. So it's like, what the fuck is going on with this guy's fucking magic, man?
I think what we're seeing here is manipulation of carbon or obsidian on such a tiny level that like we're seeing what looks like matter, you know, just like in general space and matter manipulation, but like with the deflection of the sword magic, I think that was literally just like a thin, undetectable wall of carbon that he solidified as a shield, you know what I mean? I don't think it was necessarily invisible. I think that it's just manipulation on such a small scale that sometimes you see it in the form of these obsidian hands that come out or whatever and grab him. You know what I mean? Sometimes you see it in the form of his obsidian shield that Mash breaks through, but other times it's just controlled on such a small level that it's not visible. You know what I mean? And it just like gives the impression that we're looking at like small scale reality manipulation of some kind. You know what I mean?
This seems like some kind of like spatial transportation magic to me. Like, and you would assume there's people in the verse with that type of magic. You would assume it's going to go there. What if the Innocent Zero is like some kind of hive mind collective that has like figured out some type of way to link themselves and basically freely use one another's magics? In a way where, like, I don't know, it's some kind of maybe ancient pact or something, because this dude is using like several different types of shit, it feels like.
It seems that way, yeah.
If it's not just like carbon manipulation on a really small scale that makes it look like it's doing more than it is, and it actually is doing more than what it seems like, I could totally see it being exactly what you're describing right now, Eagle. That's a really fucking cool thought.
Yeah.
I like that a lot,
With these hands, there's a bunch of rings and shit on them, you know, like, so we see this isn't the first magical tool we've seen with the fucking mirror. We've seen a couple so far, but it's been a while, right? Like there was like the bottle that Lance had that like put fucking what's her name? Why am I drawing a blank? Lemon in the bottle or whatever. Yeah. You know, like we've seen them, you know, and for all this nice explanation just to fucking, you know, get a mirror smash, you know, it's cool, but I'm excited to see tools, but it made me think like, okay, there's all these rings on these fucking hands. Like maybe there is some kind of collective of magical tools that they're fucking using, and like, I don't know, like, and maybe it's not even the rings itself, but maybe this is a tool just and like not a magic.
Random fucking like, you know, electronics and like piping and shit that like came with the forming of these hands coming out of the wall. You know what I mean? I think it just brought other things with it as it was formed. I don't know.
I don't know. It looks a lot like rings.
Yeah, I didn't think about it as no. It definitely could be. I just it definitely I'm totally not dismissing that, but that was just like my initial thought, is that like why these aren't just like raw obsidian hands with nothing else on them is because as he was forming them, it brought other materials with it from this like other area inside of it. It does.
Kind of look like it could just be like wires, like conduits, ducting, shit from the walls that's come together, like paneling, electronic shit, and it all is coming out of the. But at the same time, Now that I'm looking at it, that does not. Those don't look like wires hanging around. That looks like actual sashes, cloth.
Oh, yeah, it's like a mummy. It's like a mummy.
Kind of like a mummy. Yeah, that's super interesting.
Yeah,
I totally just assumed those were wires, but now that I look at him closely, Eagle, that definitely does look like cloth. Yeah,
mummy hands coming from space with rings on.
Pharaohs. You know, pharaohs love their jewelry too. Like,
It's not
out. Yeah, a mummy. I think that's a good spot there, because I don't know that so the fingers itself look like decayed hands, but they also look like they could be made out of carbon. Like it's so hard to say definitively, but like just the fact that I like rings and fucking
mummy wrap
bandages together. Like that feels like a good direction to me. I might like that better than just like somehow you used carbon to pull you into a fucking spatial dimension to just make you leave. Like I don't know.
I don't know if it's a spatial dimension. I think that he's cracking. I think that it looks like spatial dimensional like situation because of the way that it looks. It very much feels like Whitebeard using his Gura and cracking the actual like air around people. That's what it like feels like, and I've seen that kind of like illustration style showing like a magical application showing reality breaking. We've seen it in Bleach, we've seen it in fucking like Undead Unluck, we've seen it, you know what I'm saying, in this. So it definitely does feel like that, but I feel like this cracking could just be because everything is made of carbon around us. You know what I mean? That like any kind of manipulation of that could show itself in any kind of form. For this specific situation, it's showing in the form of looking like reality is breaking. You know what I mean? So it could be a situation like that.
Look at page 12.
Yeah. Exactly.
And like you can see in the cracks that like say like right above Cell War, right? There's this kind of like door or like maybe a stained glass window, and like in the crack, like it is off, it's shifted, like the vision, the view of from our perspective of this like door or stained glass window is shifted, implying that this is a thin sheet of space or glass or you know that's in front of us, that's refracting the light and bending it. So like to me this is definitely not the wall cracking.
And you want to know what? And you want to know what? In the background on page 13 you can see stars and
stars,
like fucking like I didn't notice that. I didn't notice that at first. I didn't notice that at first. So wow.
So yeah, this is definitely some weird type of spatial, like dimensional, and these, the mummy bandages and
this is a combination of magics. It has to.
This is something.
And think about how advanced Egyptians were with fucking spatial. Their science on space was obviously way the fuck ahead of its time. It's impossible to even know how they were that advanced. To have that science under their belts at whatever 5,000 years ago.
I think it was specifically stated that they did not have, according to our knowledge, the technology that could build the pyramids that they did back then. So it's a very confusing point of like history to where they're like, okay, this Giza pyramid and the Sphinx and all this shit, like these are really cool, crazy structures, wonders of the world and shit like that. But like, how did they build it? I understand they had a slave structure, a slave system, but like even with that slave system, they still, I think I saw historians say that they didn't really, the technology that they had at the time didn't make sense even with the manpower that they had to make those structures.
I think they've started to discover now like waterways that were dug to utilize the Nile River to transport the blocks, and then they would use logs to roll them along the wet sand. And there's
I'm sure and I'm not trying to get in my like conspiracy bag.
Really, nobody fucking knows now, and you're correct. Like they're crazy fucking structures. Aliens. Nobody has it nailed down how they were built. It's crazy, and the fact that they're perfectly the three Great Pyramids aligned with Orion's belt. That's it. That goes along with what Kiko was saying. Like, their astronomy. Their astronomy and their astrological ability at the time was way beyond their time, and it's still a mystery how they were able to do the kind of shit they did.
And there's no saying that like physicists that want to make sense of the pyramids like justified it physically inside of their own knowledge of how physics works. Like, we use the Nile to transport the blocks because buoyancy. And it's they're lighter, when they're in water, so we can transport them quicker. Like, you could say all of those things, but like, did it actually happen like that? You know?
Yeah, sure.
Like,
Getting back into the chapter.
Yes.
I love like directly after M.A.N.G.A kicks through this mirror, right? Everyone was just told like this is like really powerful item. Everyone seems to know what it is. if you use magic, it's gonna get blown back at you. It doesn't get blown back, and everyone's like,
"Oh,
wait,
light bulb goes off."
It's so funny.
Or whatever Kiko does.
The Don.
Yeah, the Don scene of everyone reacting back and back to back to back.
Progressive, and then like more shocked. They're like,
yeah, yo, wait,
right. And then this dude at the end, like, I love that this dude is like drawn like a piece of shit, looks like, you know, just some loser, like, someone who can't use magic. I'm telling the teacher.
Yeah, he looks like such a douche.
Yeah,
Mosh. It looks like he's 50, like he just got in there and he put on like a wig to look young too.
Yeah,
like,
he looks old as shit.
I was
Strangers
say,
with
like,
candy.
This is fine though, right? Like Mosh, the reason he's not worried about this is because like the headmaster he gave him pretty much the go ahead.
Yeah.
The headmaster could tell that he didn't have magic.
And he said, try not to like get revealed, but like if shit goes down, like I'm on your side type shit. So
yeah, he said blatantly, like, hey, we have a fucking magical government that, you know, oversees this whole shit. That's why I took on to this position, because like these fucks were definitely corrupt and I needed to be a stopgap.
Yeah, they were trying to Jujutsu Kaisen it, you know what I'm saying? But we don't have a gojo, so I had to step in before it got too crazy. Yeah.
And that reminds me, the divine visionaries, once you're named a divine visionary, you go into that governmental body. Like you get to like just that's where you go next. So like, you know, it's you know, definitely cool to think about that. Like how you know, you have now we know like Rain is a cool dude, right? Like, you know, Rain's not a bitch, you know. So like it's good to see that that's at least we're trending in that direction.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Story.
Yeah. Just one last thing for me is, I mean, as tropey as it was, with his character arc, the way it turned out, and like his backstory, which did kind of hit for me. Yeah, it was nice to see Abel, you know, kind of just being like, yo, thanks, Mosh. Appreciate you, dog.
In a way that wasn't like cringy, like I'm like, I worship you because you're stronger than me, and like you whooped me, so now I'm like on your team as a subordinate. No, Abel is still on his like, I'm a completely separate entity from you, even though I kind of fuck with you now. Thanks for the help, player, but like I'm about to go back and do Abel shit. You know, it's not. He's just like, team Nash right away. Yeah,
he's like, I got my mans. Don't worry about it. Appreciate what you did for me. Yeah, appreciate how you like, you know, made me like, you know, realize some shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna see you again.
I'm still my I'm
gonna see you again. Well, but it's still Abel.
When he says I'll return the favor, like that means to me like a mutual, like I'm gonna you know, pay you back for what you did, but like that's I need to do that because like we're, you know, not peers like that. We're peers. We're not that close, right? Like we're still our own things, and I'm about to pay you back for what you did. Like that's great.
Because I don't want to be indebted
that way.
But peers, I don't want to be mutual respect. There might even be a rivalry now.
Hey, hold on.
He don't want his face kicked.
He don't want that. Yeah, exactly. If there's going to be a rivalry, there has to be like, you know, reasonable, you know, clout on both sides. You know.
But now he know he got to level the puppet's physical ability up. So there might be a rivalry. You know what I'm saying? He come out with that mega puppet, that Mosh puppet.
I'm not going to like. I'm not going to acknowledge it as a rivalry until Abel whoops fucking, you know, Mash one time. You know what I'm saying? Like there has to be. I smoked you, you smoked me. Let's fucking like go to the top together type shit. There has to be some kind of establishment of similar power in order for their rival to be a rivalry. If you're just fucking like an oppressive force and no one can touch you, who's really your rival? You know what I'm saying? So,
but I love that point you just said, Eagle. Like, what if the next time we see Abel come back and using his puppets, the puppets look like Mash because he's trying to emulate the power, the speed, and the durability of Mash? That'd be so cool, dude.
Oh my god, that'd be sick.
Hell yeah.
Yo.
Yeah. But I think that's about it for Mashle for me.
Yeah, I'm good.
That's all I have. Oh no, one more thing. When Mash touched Cell War, a symbol appeared on his hand.
Oh yeah. Yes.
I don't know what the hell that meant.
Yeah, and he said, "No wonder I had a headache." Yeah, I was like, "Wait, what?"
Right.
Well, I think it kind of validates our thoughts, like that Mosh isn't just like he is really some kind of anomaly or something special within this fucking story where it's not he's not just somebody with no physical, you know, no magical ability. He's there's a reason behind that.
It could be a situation where because Cell War bounces as soon as he gets this information from Mash, like, okay, this motherfucker came in, hit me with some cream puffs. I got a headache. I shouldn't have a headache. That was the first like indicator. Then we go in here and he actually rocks this shit, kicks him in the fucking jaw, and then gets that fucking like mark on his hand. It was like, okay, no wonder I got the headache. No wonder I got this mark. I got all the information I need. I'm gonna fuck with y'all in a little bit. And then he bounces, you know what I'm saying? So maybe he's maybe he's acknowledging that he's been hit with non-magic damage, and he is, and like the reason why he has that headache, the reason why he gets the mark on him is because he was hit with attacks that didn't have any magic behind him, and he's been hit with a spell from someone else that collects data like that. If you're hit by someone who doesn't have magic, it's going to appear in the form of this headache, it's going to appear in the form of this stamp. If someone like that, if you come across someone like that, come back to me and tell me, because they're looking for someone like Mash who doesn't have magic in a magic world. So it could be a situation like that. Yeah.
What if it's a similar situation to like I don't know, you know, and I'm not sure exactly like the full extent of how this situation works, because I've only seen the anime, which I've also heard is not very good as far as continuity goes. But the God of High School anime, the whole key scenario. What if Mosh is a similar concept to that in this universe, where he's some kind of key that unlocks like a chain of events that would be obviously detrimental to the world, and the key is hidden in a vessel with no magic to basically lay low in a world where the entire, you know, society is structured around that magic, where this person would not become anybody of status or anybody of notice because they don't have any magic. So they're worthless in the world, but they're actually the most important thing to like the world itself. And then you gotta unlock their power later. So, you know,
now I'm also thinking like maybe they're looking for someone like Mash because there's like a magic artifact or something, or some kind of special item that has like, that is inside of a barrier or inside of a chest or inside of some kind of, you know, apparatus or some kind of like, you know, construct that requires physical force to get through and not magic. You know what I mean? So
it's like immune to magic.
Yeah, it's like immune to magic, and you have to crush it physically in order to get that special, you know, item. And they're looking for someone like Mash, so that's why he like collects the data. Okay, this motherfucker ain't got no magic. I'm gonna be back for you, pimp. And then bounces, tells his people, and then they come to take Mash so they can get access to this special item. I think that would be sick.
I can see that. That'd be tight.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
That's all I had though.
Well,
oh yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, me too.
Alrighty, well then with that, I believe we can go ahead and move right into chapter 271 of Black Clover. Union. And man, let me just say, like, Leeb's little chibi devil form.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, I fucking love it.
Dude, I love it too. Boy.
Yeah.
And like that's the one way to win me over with a character that I think is like not like the surefire way to win me over, but it's like if I think a character is annoying and then you give me a chibi version of him, I'm gonna like not think about it for a while and be like, oh, this is so cute. But either way, I love Liebe. Yeah.
Art in this chapter really slapping. I mean, like, phenomenal. So last chapter we commented on like Noct's Devil Union, you know, armor or whatever, looked very berserk, bloodborne kind of stuff. Another throwback in this chapter when he's using this pack ability. Every single one of these dudes looks just like Guts in the Berserker armor.
It does.
Berserk, you know what I mean?
It does.
Tabata just loves Miura. Obviously, there's been so much Berserk references all year. You know what I mean? So it's just like,
and this
just
is
another one. Looks
one
great.
of the best double spreads in Black Clover. Period.
Looks
for me.
sick.
Like seriously, like this pack move, bro. The way that the fucking like perspective is tilted, you know, to play into the paneling is just amazing. I love that perspective. Like everything about this chapter is just beautiful to me, and I feel like this is where Tabata excels when he's not trying to misdirect you, which I feel like he, you know, is not the best misdirector. You know what I mean? Considering how traditional of a shonen story he's telling here, there's not a whole lot of room you can wiggle inside of the misdirection area because we all have a very good idea of how conflicts will be settled in this series. You know what I mean? So. But inside of the choreography, inside of the action, inside of the magic application, like this is really where Tabata shines. And that's literally all we got. It's just raw Asta and amazing magic and art.
This pack ability, I fucking loved it, and it really got me like thinking, like, man, what are the other applications? Of these? Like, what are some other applications of this ability? Like when the other devils are applied to his shadow magic, and it like really just got me like, I want to sit here and speculate on this for a second.
If this is the dog and we got three more,
the cat one, dude, a crazy idea just popped into my head. So like, what if the cat's ability is called Hunt, and it fucking. Obviously, cats are very adept at seeing in nighttime. What if the hunt ability from the cat uses the shadow magic to like completely engulf an area in like a
darkness.
A domain kind of, yes, and in darkness, and you can't see shit, but the cat devil can see perfectly and is running around the fuck, hunting your bitch ass, bro.
I like that. Yeah, that's tight.
And it's the one cat, the antithesis of this ability, where it's like a pack of dogs, but the cat is a solo lone hunter in its domain.
So the advantage you get from pack is numbers. The advantage you get from cat is solid, like isolated, domain territory buff into, infrared or, night vision goggles, like style hunting.
Right. So it's hard to skip ahead a little bit. There's horse, I guess. Horse and chicken are the other two, or rooster or whatever. So what if, in this line of thought, right, what if his ultimate is like farm, right? You bring in all the animals at one time, you know what I'm saying? Like, and all of a sudden it's dark and there's a pack of wolves and there's flying roosters and shit, and like, I don't know what the horse would do, really fast or something. But that'd be tight too.
Old McDonald.
Yeah,
old McDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I-O had us.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, man.
So Asta still has the black arm though. What's that about? Like, why is his arm still berserker black? Whatever, Like,
I think that's just residual from the previous understanding that they had. You know what I'm saying? And now that they've entered this friendship pact, like Libe after this will probably be like, I guess you can have your arm back if we're gonna have this kind of situation. I mean, like, the arm, giving me the arm didn't actually like give you any detriment outside of aesthetics, but
maybe that's the linchpin, right? Because it's a mutual pact. Lieb can't have any ownership over any of Asta either. Like, he can't have, like, I don't know what exactly what I'm trying to say, but he has dominion over Asta in that sense, where he's like, I own your arm, type shit. So maybe that is the linchpin where Lieb will have to release that, in order to establish a more mutual ground between the two.
That will be, it'll be like a visual representation of like, here we are equals and mutual. Yeah, it's like, here you go, here's your arm back, even though like it doesn't really seem to be a detriment. He's swinging around like shit. It's not a buff. It's not a fucking debuff. Like, he's just. It seems like a regular arm at this point, right?
But it is remnants of like Lieb's original plan to like corrupt and take over Asta's whole body. So like, I think that might be something.
And I just can't get over the fucking art and choreography in this chapter, bro. Like pages 2 and 3,
is fire.
The contrast is incredible. Specifically on page 3, you have Asta activating Libe, to go into combat in the shared, like vestige, like state, or the shared vessel state. You know what I'm saying? Where you have half Libe, half Asta. You know what I'm saying? Like, that fucking shot on page 3 is incredible. The determined face inside of the fusion of Asta and Libe is definitely hitting very hard for me here. Obviously, we go into Chibi, Libe, we go into the pack ability, but then coming out of that, once the choreography starts on page 8 and 9, once they're in that fused state, I just feel like this is some of the best art that I've seen in Black Clover. This perspective on page 9 of Asta
really good.
dodging, the attacks while like I feel like this is a perspective that commands like I don't know, like whenever you have your character's body contorted in a way mid-action, like the farther you contort it, the more tension I feel in that like moment. You know what I mean? Obviously, Asta's in no like real danger here, but just the way that you can see him trying to weave in and out of these pack attacks really shows, a disparity. You know what I'm saying? Inside of Asta,
he's on the ropes.
He's really trying to perform properly here. You know what I'm saying? And it just like, you can see the struggle inside of that perspective and the way that his body is contorted. That really drives home the weight of the scene, in my opinion. So
and then this panel here, it's really immersive because of the way like the residual anti-magic is like a 360, or like it's a half circle. It's showing his path. It just feels like you get to feel the whole. You're immersed into that just one panel, which is awesome. And then another thing here too, starting here. Page 9, I want to talk about, so page 9, the panel right below that one, the first one below that one. So he's got Demon Slayer out.
Demon Destroyer.
Well, and he's pulling, Slayer. He's got
Demon Slayer's the right fat one, Demon Destroyer's the sleek one,
Yes.
Yep. So like, but he's pulling Demon Slayer out of his book right now, but it's being covered by the fucking, the word, the Yeeg. Because look, so he has next panel. He's got both swords. Next page, top 10.
Well, that's because in the panel you're talking about, the dog is grabbing his first sword.
That's what I'm saying.
It away
grabbing it, rip. Yeah, because and then look. So like he's doesn't have. Well, he does. So here's the other thing too. It's really off screen. It's very subtle. So like the demon Slayer is getting taken from him by one of those dogs. So he's pulling out Demon Destroyer, and then you can see a left-handed swing on that next panel, still on page 9. Then on the top of page 10, he's blocking with the left hand, but he's swinging now with the new sword in the right hand. No, that's not Demon Slayer.
So wait, I don't see them actually. I don't see
Demon Destroyer.
Okay, because I don't actually see them. I see the hands of the pack on Demon Slayer. But I don't see them actually taking it away from him until the bottom left panel shows like that left-handed swing. You can't really see his right arm, but his right arm goes out of the right side of the panel. And I think he's still holding Demon Slayer. And I think that he's swinging with Demon Slayer in the top of the the page 10 panel, while now blocking with the newly brandished Demon's Destroyer.
I'll show you why it's not, because so Demon Slayer is taken from him.
Where do you see it taken from him?
He's just saying it is.
Bottom right.
Right. Yeah. They grab it. Yeah. They have their hands on it. They grab it. I see that.
I know. That's what I'm saying. This stuff is like off panel. So like Demon Slayer, I'm saying, is taken. Demon Dweller is the one he's taking out of the book. Is in left hand. Is Demon Dweller.
Oh yeah, Demon Dweller. Yeah.
Demon Destroyer is on the top of page 11, and it's being flung away so he can pick up Demon Slicer, which was always stuck in the ground because he stuck it into the ground before the fight started. So he literally has all 4 swords within 2 panels, and you don't get to see it. It's all really subtle, but Demon Slayer is definitely taken from him, and he's swinging Demon Destroyer in that panel with his right hand now, and you don't get to see him take Demon Dweller out of the book. You can kind of see that. You see the book, it's open and he's reaching for it in his left hand. You don't see anything of him going for the book for Demon. This is so hard. Demon Destroyer. No, Demon Destroyer. Demon Slicer's the katana. Katana's stuck in the ground.
Katana's stuck in the ground. Okay. I think I got it. Demon Slayer in right hand. Page 8. They rush him. He bats him away, or he tries to defend with the contorted body position on the top of page 9 with Demon Slayer in his hand. The pack grabs Demon Slayer, but the book is open for him to grab Demon Destroyer,
Demon Dweller,
Demon Dweller.
Left-handed.
Okay, wait, hold on. He grabs Demon Dweller out of the book and swings in the bottom right panel, but his right hand is off panel, still holding a sword. We can either assume that that's still Demon Slayer because there was no actual act of taking Demon Slayer out of his hand, but that doesn't mean that he's not grabbing Demon Dweller in the top of page 10. But just the fact that there's no book there. There's the book there for when he grabs the left-handed swing outside going into Demon Dweller, but there's no book there showing him grab Demon Destroyer or whatever. So I would just assume that he still has Demon Slayer in his hand as he's making this new swipe on the top of page 10, as he has Demon Dweller in his hand to block. And then he obviously probably dispels the Dragon Slayer if he still is holding it in his hand to grab Demon Slicer out of the ground.
No, so you're still missing Demon Destroyer, which is at the top of page 11. You see Demon Destroyer being discarded.
Yeah, I see his hand going out of shot.
No, top right of the panel.
Yeah, of page 11.
Yeah, I'm on page 11. Use that power to defeat me.
Yeah, right above that bubble is a sword.
Is a different sword. It's not Demon Slayer, it's Demon Destroyer.
Oh, I see above.
It's got the rounded top. The rounded top. Yes. It's like a trapezoid top or whatever.
Yeah. I see it. Okay. Yep. I see it now. Yes. Boom. All right.
So
I got it.
Yes. Literally all 4 swords within fucking 2 pages, and you don't get to see him grab it. 2 of them really. You don't really get to see where they come from. You get to see.
I think it's tight either way. I think it's tight that you can't see everything, but I think it would still be tight. I think it would be as tight if you could visibly see every motion too. But I think it's still cool that you don't. Yeah.
For sure.
I think.
And it's just to kind of expedite it so we can get to Demon Slicer for the hype moment at the end, right? Like,
I think something that is very hype, but something that's indicative of maybe a little more depth in this key shit coming on here soon is the fact that Asta says the phrase that Yami says that clearly he does not like. He twitches, kind of like gets pissed off at that. and there's a spike in his ki aura. Behind these devils.
Wow.
Because of that anger, and that's
amazing.
why Asta's able to slash right where he is.
And grazes him, and he has to dodge and bounce.
Yes, sir.
And I also will
that's
say
amazing,
that
Eagle. Holy shit.
Y'all called this demon slasher shit. I remember because we were talking about what the potential name of the sword would be, and you guys were like, "Oh, demon slicer." I only remember saying it because I was like, "I don't know if it can be a slicing sword because all the swords seem to be dulled." But y'all were right, man. This is called the demon slicer, demon slasher, whatever. I don't know if y'all.
But I think
too much. That was my bad.
At the same time, though, I think that it only has slicing abilities when imbued with anti-magic in a way that's like offensive. Because I feel like when it's literally just because obviously right now it's got a veil of black around it, there's anti-magic coursing through it. So like in combat, it makes sense that he'll be able to slice with it. But I feel like when it's not in that, imbued state, it's still just a dull sword, and that kind of like, justify why he was able to grab it with his bare hands a couple chapters ago and it didn't cut him, because we know that the corruption of anti-magic dulls the blades and rusts them. You know what I mean? So that's a way that we can kind of like supplement that criticism that we had a couple chapters ago of why he was able to grab that. And that's why I've been saying, like, I feel like Black Clover is something that people see as more than what it is, and they want it to exceed in all of these areas that Tabata obviously isn't trying to excel in, and it makes it hard to really accept the things that are happening inside of his story because it's not trying to adhere to our mold of what a good story is. You know what I mean? If you just look at Black Clover without comparing it, then nothing really happens outside of, what the narrative allows all that often. We might not like it, but like these chapters here have really made sense of a lot of the criticisms that we've had in the last couple of chapters. And that goes back to the one shot that we had where Kiko was making a point of how we kind of jumped the gun. I'm specifically playing into that point by saying I take back the criticism that I specifically had that kind of like fanned out into criticism among all of us of why he was able to grab that sword. Well, we kind of just have to remember the events of the series to know why that makes sense, which we don't really want to or care about Black Clover enough to go back through and comb it to like make sure that our information is as viable as possible. But I feel like this chapter really makes me want to go back through and just like re-educate myself on the Black Clover lore, because I feel like I've been a little bit too harsh on it personally. So. But these last chapters have me so excited for Black Clover again. You know what I mean? Like,
definitely. And it's easy to get lost in that just because like it's not like you don't have like all the DNA shit going on with quirks and fucking like My Hero. So you want to look for like that kind of shit. You
want
don't
that
have
kind
like
of depth.
all this crazy. And you don't have like whatever, how deep Juryoku fucking cursed energy system is in Jujutsu Kaisen, like where it's like you want to look back and try to find all these things. You just assume it's like Black Clover's energy system's, pretty easy to understand. So it's like, I don't think I need really to do that, but that doesn't, that's not necessarily
that doesn't mean that
true.
It can't be deep. We just don't assume or feel like it is deep, like inherently. So we don't look to go deeper into it because we don't think that there's anything there to find. So
I agree.
Something about Nock's dialogue though, when he just said like, "This is the path you chose," like that hit for me. I'm like,
still trying to be sneaky with it. Yeah, like Asta don't know the deal. Yeah.
Well, and he's acting like he subjugated his devils when that's just doesn't seem to be the case. It seems like he actually made, mutual devil contracts like Asta has done with Liebe and fucking, I don't know why. I mean, if he subjugated them, there just doesn't seem to really be that much of a difference in the relationship, between the devils, and I just don't feel like that's, especially since like he's union with a union. It's like that feels like 100% fucking. You're getting 100% out of it, like you're merging.
Yeah,
so, like so.
Implies mutual.
Yeah. I mean, it just seems like he's really still trying to subvert Asta's fucking like expectation of how this is supposed to go, I guess, because even though like I feel like that ship's kind of sailed, right? Like I don't know. I think that was just maybe a little awkward.
I don't know though,
to me,
because like why would he go this hard on it? Because like he did say like the contract you just made is unprecedented. Like unprecedented. And I don't know. He also
maybe he subjugated them. Maybe he went that route in the ritual to where he does subjugate them in like a malicious way. But then after the fact, they are just cool with it because Noct is being so cool about it. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
so maybe
And he said, like, once you subjugate them, like in every way, shape, and form, they're subservient and obedient to you.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine that includes like you gotta act like you like me type shit.
Yeah. sure. It could be something like that, or it could just be like I overpowered you, I dominated you, I am the dominant figure here. You guys obey me, but I'm not going to be an asshole about it. So we're still friends, like it is a union, but like it's still not the same unification as Asta and Liebe. You know what I mean? Like it's different for Noct and his devils, but because he's just not being a dick, he still gets the same or similar kind of boost from his devils that Asta does inside of this unprecedented merger. You know what I mean?
On the other hand, like maybe the unprecedentedness of it is the fact that like Asta can use his grimoire and his arm as the catalyst for it, because like if you think to like the big triad, right? Like they don't have these little chibi boys, you know what I mean, like as part of their devil contract, but Noct does, just like Liebe, you know, is a chibi, you know, before being utilized by the union. So like maybe he is lying, like he does have a union, as Kiko is saying, and he's just for some reason being kind of cagey about it, right, and kind of keep it on the down low. For some reason we don't understand. Maybe there's only one way to unlock your true potential is to find it out for yourself. I don't know.
Sure. Well, that makes sense.
I would ask then, like, I thought we got some dialogue and information on that they're still like in that other dimension, that devil realm, right? Whereas like Lieb is obviously in the physical world. Are Noct's devils as well also 4 devils that somehow made their way into the physical world, and to get into a situation like Noct is and Asta is now, you have to have that where they're in the physical world.
That's a great point.
And like, since they are still in the devil realm, the pact is different. And that's where
the chibi forms. I think that's right. I think that's the part that's unprecedented. Is that Liebe actually made it to the physical realm on his own, and it's a different situation.
I like that. Okay. I like that.
I think that's right.
I love that.
I agree with you, Eagle.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Shit, I think that about does it for Black Clover, man.
I think I'm good, man. Wow. Well, best Black Clover convo I feel like we've ever had. Or most positive at the very least.
Black Clover is trending in the right direction for us. It's good. It's good.
Well then, I think with that we can go ahead and get right into this week's pièce de résistance. Dobby's dance in this motherfucker, bro.
Yes, sir.
Oh my God.
So it's finally here. Right?
Toya going crazy this chapter. We shouldn't even say Dobby. It's Toya.
Right.
It's Toya now, right?
Yeah, it's Toya now. I mean, it could still be Dobby, but we have confirmation.
The chapter was Dobby's
dance. We have confirmation that it is Toya. I think the execution here is beautiful despite how obvious it was. You know what I mean? I think that dramatic irony is like, you know, something that can be used effectively, even though we've been speculating for years now that this is the case. I think that this is, like we've been saying, this is obviously more so for the characters involved, you know what I mean, than it is for the audience. I think that this would have hit just as hard this way, or if we would have gotten this reveal at the same time as the characters involved. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that there's necessarily a better way that you could have gone about it, because the execution on this was beautiful. You have the very obvious, you know, 90s home video camera style panels inside of Dobby going like, all right, here's the moment, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's got his head down, he's like, I'm finally about to do it to him publicly. You can see maybe some anxiety, maybe some like, I'm finally accomplishing what I set out to do. Like, just this panel of him with his head down and his hands up, it just says so much psychologically about what Dobby could be feeling right now, going into this: excitement, anxiety, worry, whatever. But really the main thing that I'm taking away from this Dobby reveal, despite how Endeavor feels about it, despite how Todoroki feels about it, which is obviously what we're supposed to be focusing on, but the mother has just come out of a very psychological, mental illness kind of situation in a way that she's just now starting to make progress for inside of the Todoroki family, is acknowledging that. And now Toya broadcasting live to everyone, including the mother: I'm a villain. Your dad, my dad, your husband did this to me. This is the result of it. How do you feel, Todoroki family? And you have the mom like, ah! You know what I mean? Like, who knows what that means for her character?
You can see in her face that, like, seeing Toya, it's you can see how it affects her already. She's like,
she's like, oh, shit.
her eyes, like no mouth, no facial expression, just the shocked eyes at the sight of her fucking mutilated, burnt, fucking crisp mummy of a fucking son.
Firstborn son, bro.
Yeah.
They really didn't get that TV cut off in time, bro. They were talking about it, like, we gotta get that TV off up there, bro. Like, no, we're not gonna do it. You know, I was really hoping that like she would see some of it and they would cut it off, and that it wouldn't be like a total flat out. Now she knows, like, and here it's gonna just like revert all the work she's done with her mental trauma, and now she's back to square one, if not be worse, like deeper, worse. So like it's just really, you know, like, I mean, it's really going to open up a lot, I think, for this you know, dynamic of how, I mean, are the kids going to be even able to see her anymore? Is she going to full on straitjacket? You know, like what's the situation? Because they were visiting her, like, and like obviously there was so much progress here. They were ready to release her almost even, you know. So like, I just really am excited to see what direction this goes, because obviously it's gonna be, she's taking steps back clearly, you know, for sure. With this mental trauma.
The big thing for me with this reveal, in terms of, you know, the mom and everyone seeing this footage on the TV and online, is that I was wondering, like, how do you get the reveal to be known by society, right? Like, because it was just a fight between Endeavor, Dabi, and Shoto, you know what I mean? Like, how does anyone else find it? You know, it could be still a secret within those people. But now it's like, nope, officially Endeavor is now on the shit list. You know what I mean? Even if he wins, even if he loses, he's regardless, canceled. Society is going to cancel him. You know what I mean? So that's huge for the, you know, future of the story.
And this is how you make him.
I think it was Skeptic, and this is how you make an impact in a way that doesn't take away from Shigaraki's moment, because now we have two incredible villain monologues back to back that hold entirely separate purposes. You know what I'm saying? Like, what Dabi is doing right now does not take away from Shigaraki. What Shigaraki did does not sully this moment in any kind of way. And it's so rare and so amazing inside of Kohei to go, okay, I killed the game with the Shigaraki monologue and the Shigaraki villain situation inside of My Hero Academia. How often can we say that we see inside of the shonen genre an author giving a similar spotlight to a separate villain in the exact same arc, chapters apart? You know what I'm saying? Like, that is something that you would think that someone would be reserving for their primetime spotlighted villain. But no, Kohei had two of these in his bag, and that just goes to show he really wants to establish himself inside of the shonen genre as one of the best villain writers that it's seen in a really long time, because it's revolutionizing the way that we see these villains. We have an entire arc dedicated to them with none of our heroes on screen for 25 to 30 chapters inside of the My Villain Academia arc. That's already revolutionary in my opinion, because I don't think I've ever seen an arc like that inside of this genre beforehand. And now we're going into this super climactic stage of this biggest conflict inside of the comics so far, and you have two goated villains doing their thing at the same time. That is massive for shonen storytelling, I feel like.
I want to talk about the Skeptic thing, but but now that you're saying all that, it's like, what direction do we see? Like, Dabi's still running with Shigaraki? Is he still going to be a Shigaraki underling? Like, I mean, I could see, but like, we're at his end game, right? Yeah. Like, so, I mean, it's all determined based on, you know, I fully believe that since Endeavor is effectively out of the fight, sure, he can do some stuff, and he wants to try to aim something at Gigantomachia, even though he ain't touching fucking Gigantomachia. But like, it's going to be like Shoto versus Dabi, right? Like, that's what it feels like, at least. And will it be a definitive battle? Probably not. I want to feel like, you know, Dabi doesn't die from this, you know, which, you know, his
which he could, and his goal has still been accomplished,
and he can kill himself with his own quirk almost more than anybody, even more than Endeavor. Like, it's more detrimental to him than even Endeavor. So like, there is room for that, but where do you guys see this going? Right, like, it's
I see it going. I see it going in the direction of, I can see Dabi splitting away from the pack now that his goals have been realized. He has the stage, he has the platform necessary to out Endeavor in a very public way. All eyes are on this city right now, you know what I'm saying, with this conflict inside of the paranormal liberation war that we're seeing right now. So since he has the attention of the population, he can drop this canceling information for Endeavor, you know what I'm saying? And I think that now that the paranormal liberation from his Paranormal Liberation Front has given Dabi what he needs. He doesn't need Shigaraki anymore. And we could tell that he was like kind of like an outlier inside of that faction, and that he was always working on something in the background, which we obviously know was working towards this reveal. But now that he's done that, I can totally see him being like, thanks, Shigaraki. All right, I did my thing. I don't really know exactly where I'm going to go yet, because this was like my whole plan. I hadn't really thought too much far past this. But now that Endeavor's canceled, I can make it out of here alive. All right, cool. I'm going to move on to the next phase of my plot without you guys. Thanks for the camaraderie and the companionship. Sure. But like, I'm over here now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can totally see it working out like that.
I don't know. I kind of like that. Yeah. That seems like a good way to develop that for me. But because I don't know. I remember you guys were saying, and I didn't really totally agree with it, that he wasn't really for the league. I thought that he's grown attached to him now at this point, I think. But
he
definitely could just split off, man. But dude,
I think all of them are going to split off. I think
the speech.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say the speech from this guy, man.
Yeah.
It was so fucking crazy. And like the panel specifically that like literally sent a shudder down my fucking spine was like when he tells Endeavor the past never dies. Like you fucked
that's
up,
huge.
And you're gonna have to live with it. And like you guys were saying, this plan that he launched, man, it was really the most complete and effective way to like highlight for all of society like the shitty things Endeavor did.
Yeah. And like, this is your number one hero.
The shitty, toxic like mindset and like hunger and greed for power and status that this hero society has like cultivated.
Right.
And it's like, we got to do something about this shit, bro. Because this is what this shit creates.
Yeah, I think that the purpose of... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, in terms of, like, where I see the story going, to piggyback off what you were saying, Eagle or whatever, right? Like, the question for me is Dabi trying to kill Endeavor? Because it seems more like he wants to ruin his life.
Expose him. Exactly.
Let him live, but let him live with his guilt and being, hated by society. So it's like, what is he going to do besides bounce almost? You know what I mean?
Kill Shoto is a good, this is everything you've ever worked for. Like, this is all the trial and error. This is all the trial and error you went through to ruin
You failed with me,
Natsu's
and you discarded me because I wasn't Shoto. Now you have Shoto. This is the culmination of your shitty way of parenting. I'm going to take that away from you. And now you just have me, Natsu, who doesn't care about you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have this family that you have no, tether to, a good semblance of what a good father is supposed to be now that Shoto's gone. Yeah.
So if Dabi then is going to attack Shoto, then I could easily see it going, Dabi attacks Shoto, Endeavor protects Shoto, dies in the process of protecting Shoto because, it's a good out for Endeavor's character. Like, I would say he probably deserves whatever, Dabi's given him, you know what I mean? Honestly, but will we actually see a hero get this shit put on him? Probably not. And then a death would be a good out for that character.
And that would be huge for society to see the number one hero die in front of their eyes, because I don't think they've ever seen... obviously Nana Shimura died, which we could assume was the number one hero at the time. So like that, if people did see that happen publicly, which I think they did, I think that was broadcasted, and then All Might obviously took up the mantle after that, I think. But if that was not public information, then this is going to be a gigantic hit for society to see this happen in front of them for the first time. If they did see Nana Shimura die, and this is a repeat of that situation, that's going to be even more impactful for society to see two number one heroes in their lifetime, in some people's lifetime, die, on camera. So
I believe after the Shimura death, it was All Might got sent away to America by Gran Torino.
Yeah, I think that's right.
But I don't know if he'll fight Endeavor or Shoto here, because I mean the dialogue from him is obviously indicative of like Endeavor, we're about to fight.
Yeah,
but at the same time, he did say, "I did think of killing Shoto to put you in further despair."
Yeah,
but now it seems to me like he's going after Endeavor, and I don't know. It's hard to say though, because killing Shoto would still be a huge blow.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And he wanted to kill Shoto until Endeavor became the number one hero. Like, so it doesn't mean that that's off the table to me. Like, I think that's still very much on the table for that situation. I just don't. I mean, I like what Nick says, because it's like the only sliver of fucking redemption you can give Endeavor. Endeavor should have been canceled. Like, where's cancel culture?
So we need a sacrifice here. I think that would be cool. I don't know, man. The coolest thing about like the juxtaposition between these two villain monologues, in my opinion, I think that one is meant to be like localized despair that is broadcasted publicly, whereas Shigaraki's monologue was supposed to be public despair that was concentrated locally inside of his confrontation with Deku and himself, you know what I mean? So
that's a fantastic way of putting that, for sure.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So like it's cool, and I don't know what hits harder for me. I've seen people, now that this Dabi chapter is out, going crazy on Twitter, as people usually do, saying Dabi is a better villain than Shigaraki in one chapter than Shigaraki has shown us in the entire series. And it is bullshit. It is. I personally think it's bullshit. I can't possibly personally put Dabi above Shigaraki considering his growth and development, but this moment hits harder for me than Shigaraki's did in his monologue because one, there's a certain there's more relatability to the Todoroki family drama, you know what I mean, because that hits for a lot of people in the world is dysfunctional family drama, you know, with varying degrees of extremity or of extremity, I don't know, like you have varying, you know, extremes you know, here, you know what I mean? Like, people could really relate to the Todoroki family drama in the sense of, like, my dad beat me and my wife and blah, 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 blah. Or you could just relate to the Todoroki family drama as in your family is not perfect, where society kind of, like, tries to paint, you know, this ideal picture of what, like, 2.5 kids and the American dream looks like. You know what I mean? So it could be playing on that. But just personally, I feel like this Dabi situation, considering how potent the Todoroki family drama plot has been, just hits harder for me because I've been waiting to see that culmination of that plot explode more than I wanted to see Shigaraki come into his own as a villain, which we always knew was going to be a thing. But like this Todoroki stuff, even though we knew about the reveal, how drastic this execution is completely unpredicted or unexpected. You know what I mean? So,
and I just have to say, like, this moment can hit harder, you know, like this fucking grandiose villain monologue here can hit harder than Shigaraki's at the time. But like Shigaraki just has so many other facets to, like, it's just like so much more of a full villain. Like it's like Dabi is great. Like, I love this. This was handled perfectly. Like all the shit you've been saying. So like I'm fully on board with that. But like just this one fucking thing doesn't make up for 50 other fucking things that we've done for Shigaraki to build his character.
Now you can argue that like this is like a completion of Dabi's character arc coming here, culminating, coming home to roost inside of this situation. So you can say that Dabi feels like more of a complete character at this point, all things considered, than Shigaraki, and then you can place him above in that regard. But like just as far as like raw data and like raw lore like dedicated to a character, obviously Shigaraki has much more development and progression than Dabi. So
but 2020 is still young, and we might now get an intense Dabi flashback, a Toya flashback. We might get the flashback from Endeavor's perspective of him dealing with the memories of he did, you know, put his son through this shit and like maybe severely injure him or almost kill him or something, right? We might get that. We might get more just expansion of Dabi's motivations, you know what I mean, in the next couple chapters. So he might quickly skyrocket to being at the same level of depth as Shigaraki.
And that's a good point that you're making, because like pathos placement inside of your villainous like structure inside of your story is like really important as far as timing goes. And when you have a two birds one stone pathos kind of situation inside of, because we've been getting like, you know, little breadcrumbs of pathos for Dabi leading up to this reveal. We know his history according to the Todoroki family before this reveal. So we already feel bad for Dabi's character before, when he was just Toya, before he adopted this outlook. So we already care about who he was before Dabi. So now if we get a tried and true flashback of everything related to Dabi, that's going to slap so hard because of those pathos breadcrumbs, but it's also going to make us feel bad for Endeavor because, well, try to make us feel, I mean, we're probably going to hate Endeavor in that flashback, but it still works as pathos for Endeavor, even if we don't like him in those scenes. You know what I'm saying? So we're getting two birds, one stone on the development of these characters with just one flashback scene, which is just amazing that we get two characters further being fleshed out in one moment, you know what I mean? So,
and I'm speaking on strictly today, of course, right?
Like, absolutely.
But yes,
definitely.
I think I don't know, I'm kind of thinking one of two things happened in the past here as far as Dabi's skin goes. I know we've always kind of thought that it was just like a cumulative thing over time because of how his quirk works with his body. It's of detriment, right? But like he has the blue flames, which obviously are they burn hotter than the red flames. So like Endeavor knowing this
could bring that
as a child, I'm sure was like pushing him, pushing him, and either at one point, like I don't know, probably I can imagine him training, sparring with him, and like throwing his fire at him, knowing that Toya's fire is more intense, more hot. So he's like, you need to overpower my shit, and like burns him because he's throwing too much fire at him, or forces Toya past his limit, in which he fucks up his skin like that. And now it's like a gruesome fucking mummy man.
Well, I 100% agree with that.
What if Toya didn't have the blue fire to start, and it's like an evolved, you know,
because of psychological duress? It brought out a new level of his quirk.
And Endeavor wouldn't, because if that ever happened in their training, Endeavor should recognize, hey, somebody with blue fire. I remember, you know, making that happen with my kid, obviously. So that I would think that they would have had similar fire, you know, both using whatever red flames at the time. And so Endeavor, saying what you're saying, Eagle, just blasting the shit out of him over and over and over with fucking fire. And like, his quirk is fucking, you know, just to even defend himself is fucking himself up, of course, because that's just how these heat quirks work. But just that's happened. He's now broken. Okay, I this is a failed child. I move on to the next one. He goes through all this fucking trauma, and you know, that's where he gets that eventually. Going out in the world, I don't see that we're gonna need probably in these next chapters, whatever, on what happened after. Okay, I've been crying to Natsu every day that like I'm worthless and I've been discarded as trash, whatever. And you know, we need what happened, obviously, and I assume that's going to get that next.
What y'all have been saying makes me think like, okay, so Endeavor severely injures Toya, right? He has burns and he has resentment towards Endeavor, towards his father. The burns and the pain of the burns and feeling the pain. Anytime he would use his regular red flame, right, his regular pre-blue flame, every time he would use it, he would feel the pain of his father's attack on him, and that could fuel the like.
I need to go beyond that and have my own flame that's hotter than my father's,
or even just like not even needing to go beyond, but just like the pain, like triggering him into getting a blue flame through the sheer emotion of it. You know,
because that is what we've seen with all these quirk evolutions. It's trauma related, trauma involved. Like that's what's pushing him to the next fucking stage. So
So what about page 15? I love this pose of Toya Dabi. You know what I mean? It looks like Golden Kamui to me, like very eccentric villains in Golden Kamui, and just this like he looks like he's just having a blast.
What it really is this is a homage to the Joker, right?
Sure.
So like if you see, especially if you've seen the newest movie of the Joker,
when he's dancing down the steps,
it is very much it very much plays into the Joker's like situation, like bringing dance, you know, or interpretive dance or whatever the fuck he does in those scenes. That's how he like expresses, you know, whatever he's feeling in the moment or whatever. But anyway, like that Joker, there's a better way that you can say it, but I can't think of it right now. But basically I'm seeing the Joker inside of this panel. I don't know if I would assume because of Kohei's, you know, love of Western fiction that you could probably attribute this to the Joker very confidently, but you never know. But me personally, I just see new Joker film like painted all over these two pages.
I could definitely see that.
So like I said before, like it's a while ago now. This is a great long conversation. I got a couple more things here. Talking about Skeptic, like it's maybe a little awkward to me that Skeptic's the one that put this out, because it's like, if you have this plan for so long and this is what you're trying to do, like you just met Skeptic fucking a couple months ago, right? Like maybe he's been fucking with the MLA for a long time here, you know, like
or a piece of evidence in your favor here. And now that I'm reading this panel again, this is page 14 where you see Skeptic at the computer, right? He says quite the ace up his sleeve, referring to Dabi Toya, right? Like, which to me, it's like, why would, if you're the one hacking the news networks and if you're the one putting out the stuff on the internet on behalf of Dabi, why would you say it's an ace up his sleeve? It's an ace up your sleeve. So it's like Dabi already set this up, and maybe he
did it himself. Skeptic is actually seeing it on his computer. This is a broadcast now that just hits my computer right now.
Yes, he's watching the vid live, and he's like, damn, nice work, Dabi.
Yeah, that's 100%.
I'm leaning more towards that now.
Love that.
I feel because I was like, this is awkward. Like, I don't know why Skeptic's the one putting this out on the internet for him right now in the midst of this giant fucking battle. And you just acting like y'all been talking shit, and you threatened to kill him last chapter or two. Chat, you better do what the fuck I say. I'm about to burn the shit out of you. You know, like, it's like, you know, like, definitely. I was. That's got to be it. Another quick little thing, and then somebody else can go. But I was happy to get a name for the fucking tendrils. The rivet stab. You know, it's not the greatest
rivet
name.
stab.
It's you know, who knows? Like, it's being translated into that, but it's just like I've been calling it like something different. I feel like every week, and just to have a name is just a load off my mind. God damn it, I got rivet stab here, and that's what we're running with. It's just I'm happy that I have that.
For sure.
Say, I guess.
Yeah, man.
I think I got another big one. If another thing that I really wanted to talk about is just how beautiful, like, so the diamond panels, the double outline diamond panels are, of course, the Dabi on the internet broadcasting this to everybody.
Oh, sure.
And so like the 12.
Wait, where?
13,
which
like,
page?
So
11,
all of them, but they start on 11. Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the narration box.
It's like a rupee. It's like a Zelda rupee.
Like a rupee. Yep. And so each one of those, of course, are him, you know, online projecting this or whatever. And so when you get the double page on 12 and 13, it just really goes with, like, you know, all the destruction, everything that's said. Like, these all are just like just hammering it home, I guess, especially the fucking middle panel. But alas, I was a failed creation. Dead guy smash, blood. Like, I was a failed. I've been dead since I've been determined a failed creation, basically. You know, like, it's just really powerful to have, like, this imagery to go with this, you know, monologue here. It's I just really loved it. And one last, I guess, quick little thing is, a little trolley thing here is, why is Shark Man right next to that?
Where?
Like, why has he got human teeth? Right next to that one. It's a 13. You know, it's right next to But Alas, I Was a Failed Creation. And the two kids watching on the internet, Shark Man's got like fucking human teeth.
That's why he's not at UA. He doesn't have like a fully evolved, you know, shark quirk or whatever. It's just like, I got shark head, but no teeth.
His favorite hero is guaranteed Gang Orca.
I'll dovetail off of Kiko's point here in that in another panel of Dabi's dialogue where he's saying, I'm not saying that everyone has to be pure and selfless. Just you. That's over Shoto. Is he referring to M.A.N.G.A there or Shoto? Because he that's double page spread 12 and 13.
Page,
You would assume he's already past the point of hoping that Endeavor is going to be pure and selfless. Like, he hates him. So
I think he is talking to Endeavor, though.
You think so?
I think he's
even though we're showing Shoto,
Endeavor.
I think he is talking to Endeavor this entire time.
Well,
and he's saying things that Shoto can also, you know, that also apply to Shoto, but are still directed at Endeavor.
I was thinking
that
the meaning
Shoto
of that
could relate to, right? Like, Shoto also was angry at his father,
right?
And he's not perfect. But Shoto recently, you could say, has, like, he's kind of gotten over it. Maybe he's willing to accept that, you know, Endeavor is who he is, and it's water under the bridge, right? And then Dabi Toya is reminding him, like, I'm not, it's not water under the bridge for me. This is a big deal to me, and I'm still upset, right? And so, like, to remind him, like, oh damn, I could still be angry if I wanted to.
What it is actually, now that I'm really thinking about it, is that, like, he's saying, like, as your son, right? If there's one person in the world that in my eyes should be pure and selfless, that has to be you as my father. So, like, you can't be the person that's putting me through the despair and shit. So, like,
agree.
I love that.
Another thing I guess we didn't talk about, which is super fucking lit to me, I'm surprised I forgot it for so long, is the fucking Dabi pours like the isopropyl alcohol on his head to fucking get the hair dye off. Boom, white hair. I'm here. Like I just, I don't know. I just really love
that was a great way to do it, because like I hadn't even considered the reason why his hair was a different color is because he dyed it. You know what I mean? I just assumed.
Well, and you could just assume it's M.A.N.G.'s hair instead of.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Another thing too is like that's an accelerant, right? So like maybe he activates in a way where he uses that isopropyl to like explode off the fucking jump, you know, because that's an accelerant that he just poured all over himself.
Yeah.
Do we know do we know definitively it's that isopropyl?
No,
I mean,
no, that's
it could be really anything.
And I know that, but people use that to get hair dye out, right? People use that to get hair dye out, and that's why I, thought that's what it was. And it's just the way the container looks, it's looks like a medical container, Yeah.
So here's a question.
It could be any chemical, sure.
Right. Page 14. Look at the middle panel of a young Toya on the ground, crying, right, crawling to Natsu or whatever. His hair looks to me black and white.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. It is split or shaded.
So like that's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, why is his hair all white now, or did he? You know what I mean? Like, if his hair is all white now, like, why was it not all white back then? Is that related to, evolving his quirk, or is it, did he dye his hair white? Yeah. Did he just pour bleach over his hair and is like symbolically, but you can't really, I don't think it,
maybe it's because the skin on his scalp is like dead and the hair follicles are like, they just grow, I don't know, white dead ass hair now. I mean, maybe you could just make the argument if that was the case, he'd just be bald, but I don't know.
But yeah, I like what you're saying too, because I mean, like, maybe 2 weeks ago or something, whatever, when we were talking about Dabi getting this additional like quirk activation, whatever, evolving his quirk, and him, him manifesting ice himself. Like, why technically why couldn't any of these kids, right? Like you would assume, I mean, I guess quirks come into like around like 4 or 5 or something like that. 4 or 5 years old or something is like when your quirk starts to like activate, develop or whatever. So,
well, there's no guarantee that you're going to get both. I mean, it's as far as we know, at least it's like you get one parent's quirk, the other parent's quirk, or a combination of the two.
Yeah.
So it's literally like a chance game.
Yeah. For sure.
Hell yeah, man.
But
yeah.
What about earlier in the chapter when Gigantomachia comes, we get Jet Kindling and Nejire Flood, like combo attack. Pretty lit.
Yeah, definitely. And you see the plane, I guess the last panel, you see the planes arriving, right? Best Genius about to jump out.
Ooh, so hype.
Wrap up Gigantomachia with the cables, whatever he's got, So, I might be seeing how that goes too. Yeah, these next these chapters ending the year are about to go crazy. Go crazy. I'm excited.
Well, shit. I think that's about it for Hero, though.
I think so. Yeah. What a weekly Shonen Jump conversation that we had this week, gentlemen. I think this is, we say it often, but I think this is one of the best discussions that we've ever had, all things considered, through and through. So, super excited.
Well, shit. I think that does it. So, thank you all so much for watching. If you did, be sure to slap a like on this video if you enjoyed it. And while you're down there, subscribe to the channel and hit that noti bell so you can stay up to date on when the content is coming out. It would be greatly appreciated. Also, hit that comment section down below and let us know what you thought about this week in Jump. Chop it up, talk it up, ask questions, whatever you want to do. Point out some mistakes we made, whatever. None. Also, go ahead and visit that link tree in the description box down below where you can find links to any and all of our online communities, audio listening platforms to consume the podcast on, as well as links to support the podcast if you would be so inclined, like the link to our Patreon, where you can find either early access to all of our content, additional manga reviews, check it out.
Yes.
Also, like we said at the beginning, links to previous AniTubeCon panels will be in the description box. Also, stay tuned for updates on the next one coming this winter. It's going to be lit. And with all that said, this will be another incredible episode of the Project Manga Podcast. Wrapping up, I'm your host, Eagle.
Peace, y'all. It's Kiko.
Noxie.
And Nickums.
Sarabada.